Hello.
And there, the change in the song is my cue to go live. Good day to everybody. This is Dylan Russell, and we are hanging out this morning at the base. We have a project to do that I'm quite nervous about, so I'm a little bit wound up. It's not a big deal to most people, but my plan for today, I'm going to show you guys on the map here, is at least this left-hand end. We're going to try and trace it out, as in like make some notes. I'd love to see if I could actually get coordinates on here. That would be nice. But we're going to try and figure out what this shape is, and then see if we can get so at least the upper level here snow-free. So that means going way up high, placing what we've got for glass, and see if we can get rid of a roof. If we can get rid of all of this, that would be ideal. But getting rid of this left-hand end is the big key. So I didn't want to figure out what some of my coordinates are to try and draw some straight lines on here. And then we will see if we can get this thing to go away so that we can actually start building in that spot. Because we have a couple of other things that belong in this zone. We need a herb shop, and we need the residence for the monk who runs the whole thing. So because he's senior to everybody else, he doesn't have to sleep in the dorms with everybody else. So he gets his own little residence out the side. But we got to make the snow go away first. I mean, England's great, but southern England doesn't get much for snow at all. Period. Lots of rain, but not snow. And we can't force it in Minecraft to be rain instead. So that's where we're starting. But in order to go up, one needs to have scaffolding. And I have some, but not much. But good morning, Fantastic Sherlock Fox. How are you doing? I saw that you wished me my day getting off to a better start. Long story made super short, just simply... Actually, there isn't really any reason to explain. Just minor health issue, nothing to be concerned about. And, you know, it is what it is. But I think I'm playing, rather than playing the avoidance game, I'll show you I don't have a whole lot of glass in my inventory. I've got one shulker plus what you see here. I think we're going to go with that to start and see what we need, but we definitely need more scaffolding than 3.5 stacks. Because I know I've got at least, well, maybe not. Where's the other ones? I've got 2 stacks in that box, and I'm going to need at least 5 because it takes 5 to get up to build height, and then we're going to need probably a little bit more to make Dylan not feel like she's going to fall off things. The other thing is I'm debating building it a 4-block wide zone, even though I don't really need it that big, because if I do fall off, I actually have a really hard time hitting a 1-block vertical thing intentionally. I mean, I could do it accidentally, but intentionally is not likely. So that means that we need more scaffolding to make it a 2x2 all the way up, which sounds dreadful when I think about it that way. But we'll get there. We'll get there. The other thing is, I'm not very good at being able to put up what do you call it? I can't seem to think today. But I'm not very good at putting up a platform to be able to put my box down and get more supplies out partway up. So I need to make sure I've got as much as I can deal with in the inventory right off the bat. So I'd be more likely to put the glass away than any of the rest of it. Oops, wrong door. We've got gaming music to help this morning. Truth is, I just went to Stream Beats by Harris Heller because I know it's all safe, and then just hit go. So at the moment it is what it is. If we get something that really doesn't work, then I'm going to have to pause for a second and change settings. But also, I don't know if it's going to include some of the seasonal stuff. So we'll just have to figure that out. Let's just make a ton of scaffolding. I know that this is going to be overkill, but I will need 20 stacks for what I'm talking about. So what have we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, okay, let me do it in a different way. Well, it's bedtime. That doesn't help either. Throw some scaffolding on the ground. Maybe. Let's fill up to start with. Put glass in my hand, maybe? That will help. How far can we get? Okay, that's reasonable. Let's put this away. It's not 20 yet. We need more. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and I've got a few. Heck, can't even count today. We've got, this way, 8 times 3 would be 24, so that, if I can sort it so that it's going to work out that way. Okay. My brain is not working, so let's try and stack it in a way that's going to work. Make me think about it. 6 3s is 18, and then 2 is 20, so that's even easier way for me to think about this. So 3, 4, 5, 6. The end of where the glass is right now is where I want to be. Yeah, we're not there yet, clearly. Right? 4, 4, 3, yeah. Okay, so I'm just actually kind of curious what it looks like to be standing here with two sets of Well, that doesn't make any sense either. Let's go this way and find ourselves a bed. Come on. Maybe. There we go. I have a bed in here. I thought I'd put one in the tower. Did I take it with me? Yeah, I did. Didn't want any bait for a villager. Bit of a quiet start to the morning. I don't think I just remembered I don't think I put on my schedule in Minecraft the stream weekend. Like, I mean, it's on my mental schedule, but it's not on the schedule that you guys see on the page. So that probably explains a lot, or even a little. But it's just one of those to-do things that I'd forgotten to do. What I'm also gonna do, put that shulker up here for now. What's this? It's wool I need to put away. Shulker for glass. That'll work. That out of the way. Don't know if I'm going to need that. These can go down here. Definitely not going to need this one. Let's leave that hoe behind. Hey sir, sorry that it's in your face. It is what it is. This one down there, that one down there. That way I have way more than I need, right? I can put extras away for later. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. 4, 5, 6. Up there. this one, fill up these. Doesn't really matter. End up with extras, I end up with extras, right? Right. That's how I'm gonna pretend. It's okay. The other thing is, I mean, we won't really have enough glass to do it all, and I need to figure out the markings underneath as it is. I don't know what I just did there. That's sort of a rabbit trails, I suppose? I figured on that one to put a pressure plate, but I don't want mobs down in here. Okay, get those. We're stringless. That's fine. Okay, so this one, we have more than we need, thankfully. This one, that one, and then we have some extra. All right, I can handle that, maybe. So let's just take these out and turn them into the other type. Put that away. All right. So we got that one done. So much for, it's never really super exciting to watch people making scaffolding. So we have extra. And I put all the glass away, right? Yes. So I can get some of it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 18, 19. Okay, and then I've got 2 in the toolbox. Should have more lanterns or torches. There we go. Okay. 21 and a bit. That should be fine. Sorry, thinking out focusing it, which is kind of dumb because there's nothing to focus on at the moment. Yeah, that should work. And if I go splat, I go splat. It's just the way it is. All right. So we're actually going to go start out by taking a fly over to the zone where we need to work, and just doing some measurements, and writing some notes. So you'll see me doing a little bit up and down stuff. Possibly just so that I can write down a few coordinates I can refer to. So we have, we'll make it 1 block extra, just to make sure we've got space. So this is 25, 26. I'm just going to make it a big rectangle. It's probably easiest that way. I know it's extra on the glass, but I don't need to worry about as much of, like the glass we can always get more sand, so it'll be a little wasteful, but square works better for my brain than trying to trace this by rote work. I mean, if I really wanted to pay DC for an hour to do it, he'd probably do a rectangle too. So, 6 of one, half dozen the other. Okay, so we've got max is 25, 26. And then we got up this end. Max this way is this block, I think. Yeah. Starting at 303, right? 304. 304. Okay, and then south. Kept saying I was going to do this for months, and I hate doing these types of projects, so let's just get her done. What do we got? Question of the day: what smell brings back great memories? If willing, share why. This is kind of like that 21 Pilots song about having a candle. Weirdly, I would say... oh, hang on a sec. I nearly broke my own rule. Actually, no, I will say it. Certain smells, certain combinations of the airborne scent of beer and pot. And no, it's not because of taking drugs. It's because it reminds me of going with my family as a kid to our city's folk festival, having a blast at the folk festival. But there's always that group, you know, that figure that folk and hippie and pot all go together, and then there's understandably the adult beer garden. So we didn't go in there, but the way that's done is it's all outdoors, so it's just a fenced-in zone. You can smell both of them. The pot now probably has a fenced-in zone of its own, but back then it was outright illegal, but you could totally tell everybody was hanging out because the smell was pretty pervasive. And it became worse over the course of the weekend, and the reason for that was just because people figured it was a lot easier to not get caught if you were hanging out with everybody else that smelled like it too. Okay, where are we at? This one is 351. 351. And then the other X, wow. Okay, let's go all the way. So we're gonna have a lot of extra glass being used. I didn't realize it was quite this big, but that's okay. And I mean a lot of extra because if I turn it into a rectangle, I'll have a bunch hanging off all sides. But that's okay. If somebody else wants to come in and trace it so I know exactly what the coordinates are, by all means have at her. That would be super helpful, but it's a lot of work, and I don't think it could be done in an hour. So, yeah. Is this the farthest the other direction? I think so. Yeah, okay. So we're standing at the correct spot. And this one is 2581. Why is it all that end in ones? Okay. So that should be the 4 pieces I need, which means I need to figure out where I want to go up. That also means that the very first glass we place will be pointless, which is kind of frustrating, but necessary, I suppose, if I'm just going to do a rectangle shape. You know, CJ Bot probably would say, oh, just do just what you need. Yeah, well, you're good at that, CJ. I'm not. Yet. Get that. Ooh. I like the way that becomes a river. I kind of wish it would go all the way to the edge of the water, but it's not worth terraforming the heck out of. Maybe I'll come down and put some more feeder blocks in partway through so that it actually keeps on going. This spread's a bit much, but that's okay. It's just the way it works in Minecraft. I can probably tweak it. Alright. So let's start at sleeping it off. That's another thing that I hadn't really remembered I have to do. Almost there. Free coffee start. I forgot to reset everything, so let me just do that. You'll probably get a first words thing again, but that's okay because it's better than me not having everything tracked properly. Did I only bring one bed? Please tell me I have a second one. No. Okay, so what I'm going to do actually instead is I'm going to take this bed with me and head into the monastery and sleep there, or not sleep, but tag a bed there, so that if something goes sideways and we end up having to have a need to respawn somewhere, oh, wrong way. If we end up having a need to respawn somewhere, we can respawn in here, and then if it turns out I get stuck upstairs, or up scaffolding, and have reason for it to be night, I guess, that I can't avoid, or that I decide I can't survive. I mean, if we start getting, you know, if we get knocked off, oh, perish the thought. If I get knocked off a scaffolding by, like, phantoms or something, which is pretty likely, then I'm going to be able to respawn in here. And yeah. Okay, so the top corner, 25, 26. Wrong way. Guess I need my corners marked. I have extra scaffolding, so let's just do that. 25, 26 by 304. I think that look about right. I think. Yeah. So right here is my corner. That's extra, but that's okay. Okay. I guess it's up we go. What a pain. I know this is not the world's best idea. Most people would be like, why are you putting two? Why aren't you just flying up? And there's a lot of whys. Suffice to say, it's still an end project. Why engineer when you can over-engineer, right? Feels kind of like building a spruce tree in reverse. Not to mention, truthfully, if I were to say that I like scaffolding, I'd be lying. But
Hello.
It's got perks in this particular scenario where it's going to be a little easier for me to get back on at whatever height I happen to be able to come at it. So, and I don't end up having to be forced to fly to the top. I can. That's probably what I'm going to be doing, but yeah. It would actually be kind of fun, and I know this is really silly to say, but it would be kind of fun if you could get the, one of the features of Bedrock that I quite like is if you go to stick a scaffold on top, beside something you're working on, and it can't stick there and it just falls. The Bedrock ones seem to fall in such a way that you can make them stack. So like you stick it to the side of a building where there's no scaffolding below it, it will fall, but you can force them to stack that way. Java only lets you do that if you are like at the end of where scaffolding can go, so however many it is out, I think it's like 7 or something. And then you can get it to do that to stack below you to a certain distance. I mean, if it's beyond a certain drop distance, then it breaks and is an entity. Not so in Bedrock, as far as I know. So for Geek Out, our current Geek Out is... Oh, that should have showed up on the other screen. Yes, it didn't. Current Geek Out appears to be miscellaneous 6 slang terms for money. And he's got so far cash, dollars, quan, dinero, bucks, and moolah. Yep. That's cash, dollars, quan, dinero, bucks, and moolah. I don't know what quan is, though. Where did that one come from? Maybe it's just a non-regional thing? Currency. It's not really a slang term, though. But I'm carrying currency in my wallet, is what some people say. Some people call them spendables. That's another one. Okay, I'm just going to... There's a reason I'm pausing. And I'm just going to make sure that I can see the geek outs and such. There we go. Okay, so I'm not seeing... Well, I'm seeing what you're seeing, sort of, but not quite the same. Just perks to OBS and so on. But we've got that one rocketed, so let's hit New Geek Out. New Geek Out is 2 songs about actors. about actors. Sure. It probably isn't about actors, but some of the people think it was. Things is You Can Call Me Al by Paul Simon. Some people used to think that the Betty was Betty Grable. But I don't know of anything about songs about actors beyond that. At least not at the moment. I'm sure I've heard some. The way I'm looking at it today, I'm not even looking at the Y level right now because, in short, if I can see the ground, even with the buddy add-on turned on, if I can see the ground, I'm too low. So, as some people say, you only need to go 5-0 blocks up. One of the reasons I don't want to do that, and I actually want to go to build height, is because 1, I want to guarantee it's invisible. 2, my kind of luck, since I never pay attention to what Y level I'm at when I'm flying, I would find the floating umbrella, I guess. Actually, that would be kind of funny. If you could make sure that you would never see it, I'd make it out of something colorful and actually build a giant umbrella in the sky. That would be kind of fun. I suppose if I thought this out properly, looking at the shape, I could probably get away with a circle. And that would waste less blocks. In which case, the corner where I'm standing would be outside. And man, do I feel dumb right about now. On the other hand, dealing with Minecraft circles in the sky? Derp. Yeah, for sure. Totally derp. In this case, hashtag derp.
Hello.
Morning, Jen. How are you? I guess more accurately, good afternoon, because I'm the second, second, possibly third time zone from the west. So, here's the question for chat. Do I go square, or do I square the circle? Huh? Circle the square? Yeah, there we go. So, hello. I don't know. Hello. Hello. That worked out well. Hello, Teddy. How are you doing? I am just realizing that I'm being a bit of a derp, and I have a blob that might be better off done as a circle in Minecraft. I haven't done a circle that large, so I have no clue what it would look like. On the other hand, yeah, let's just go rectangle, because what I'm really trying to do, as you can probably guess, between the title and me standing up here on some scaffolding, that I'm gonna do the ubiquitous thing in the sky to make the snow stop in that zone, and I was just realizing just how much glass I was wasting. On the ground, I would try a circle. Up in the sky, probably not so much. Now, one of the other options I had, of course, was to trace the whole terrain on the ground, so dig out the snow, and then put string down. But every time you go through the area, you would see it. Which, 2 things would bother me about that. 1 is it just doesn't look right, and 2 is that I'm... How do I put this? By being bothered by spiders, just walking through would look too much like, you know, when you see a movie and they've got lots of spiders in an area, they just blanket the ground with cobwebs. So yeah, that look just really doesn't work for me. It's supposed to be a calming, you know, monastery, abbey type zone, not a spider zone. Actually, if someone was being really cruel and wanted to go to far too much effort, thank heavens these servers don't do that. But I could easily imagine on certain other servers, somebody would take the time to carefully push a spider spawner into the zone for a person like me, and then hide it as best they can. Now, the other thing I've also realized is I cannot remember whether or not in Java scaffolding is spawnable. By safety, I usually just throw a carpet on top anyway, but then you can't go through the carpet, right? But I've not realize whether it's spawnable, and I'm up here in the dark. And I think I'm the only one on the server, last I checked. And so this could be interesting when the phantoms show up. But thank you very much, Teddy, for bringing your people in. I really appreciate it. If you get a second and are not harassed by ads, if you could please tell me what you were up to, I would really appreciate that. Yay! Okay, let's not just promptly fall off everything. Oh, huh? Yeah, derp. There's another one. Here, where's my derp button? It's faster for me to type it, isn't it? There we go. There's the derp button.
Hello there.
That's long. I'm gonna get in trouble for it. Oh well. Yeah. No, I'm not. I have whitelisting, or had whitelisting on the Dad Rock server, but I don't think I'm gonna use it. Okay. I cannot see the ground. That may not be for... Ugh. That may not be for... What the hell? Pardon me. Sorry. What is that? How did I not notice that? Okay, Whoa, whoops. Let's not fall off the edge here. Okay. What is this? Oh! Okay. I assumed that because I could see the ground that I wasn't high enough up. But looking at the way the Y level on my camera is rocketing up, I did not, yeah, that's the problem. So, I'm actually standing at 107, but I calculated from 0. That's why I have far too much scaffolding. Okay. That means, in theory... Ooh. I was going to say, in theory, I could actually build all 4 towers. Or at least the opposite corner. Right, because then up there I could see the opposite corner. That would be sensible, maybe? Maybe? In a Delenn world, it makes sense.
Hello?
So, hello! Hello, Tashi, good to see you. Good morning, Tim Dog. Yeah, I don't like spiders, you guys know that. So if I was to see a spider up here, guaranteed I would probably say something not nice. And, okay, so if the monastery is there, that would be spruce tops? Interesting. At least I know which side to jump off of, right? Isn't that how it goes? Okay, that's glass, I'm gonna need that. Let's go down and do this again. And I can sleep while I'm at it, right? It seems weird to be looking down and see the sun below you. That, yeah. Oh well, whatever. I will admit, I also had a very minor heart attack till I started hearing the whoosh of the wind with the elytra. That was kind of helpful. Ow! I probably could have come in too fast, and that's not smart either. Hey, good afternoon. I keep saying good morning because, for me, I started at 10:30 in the morning. So I'm in Mountain Time Zone. It looks funny when they all get up like that. Yeah. Don't care. Get me out of here. Oh. I have a golem in the library. Great. You guys are expected out here. Get out of the library. Alright. So... Skeleton, you can stay over there. Where am I? Find the bottom corner of this. Scaffold's over there. So the other one would be 351, 25, 81. One, 2581. Okay. It's right here. that looks safe. Let's put this one here. There's my happy little platform. Here we go again, I guess. Oh, okay, shift. Here's the thing. When they do parity for Bedrock and Java, could they please make scaffolding a little bit more parity, at least in the way that you set it up? I don't really care which system they use, but I would like it to be similar. It's not just the up and down thing. Like, I mean, Bedrock, I don't have to hop like a maniac, but one above me. Right? On the other hand, in Bedrock, I actually have trouble placing scaffolding in a row. And the reason I have trouble with that is that in Bedrock, as far as I remember, I have to, oh, come on. I have to place off the side, like as in almost a backwards bridge type of thing. And in Java, I can just face the direction I want and place it forward. It's weird. It's like you forward bridge your scaffolding in Java, but you have to backwards bridge your blocks. But then in Bedrock, it's almost the other way around, and I find that really weird. I'm also realizing I'm going to run out of scaffolding here. But that's okay. We'll see how close we can get. When I start getting really close, I will have to go get some more. But hey, we can glide all the way down. Rockets are cheap that way, right? You can forward scaffolding in Bedrock? Probably. Dell skill is not, but if there's a trick to it, let me know. Because I find that incredibly difficult. For some reason, I just can't get it to place properly. But, I mean, as I say, you know, even so, the hopping up and down biz is just stupid. So in one of them, and it's not even, it's just my experience, I guess. So, I mean, I'm probably just derping that all the way through. But my experience has been that for one of them, if you're not actively hopping, so this is the one, if I'm not actively jumping, I can't place scaffolding beneath me. That's just my own experience. But, actually, where's it, that one? Yeah, I'm wrong. That's the one I can place outwards. I know I need more scaffolding anyways, so not too annoyed that I just did that. But anyway, so if I'm not hopping up and down, then I can't place scaffolding, right? Of course. Yeah, that's not it. It's crouching. I did it again. Whereas if I... Oh, I see what I'm doing. Yeah, okay. So if I'm crouching to place things, then I need to also be hopping or I'm going to go through the scaffolding. I know I don't have to do that on Bedrock. Can't remember quite what the difference is. Now, let me put something to you guys I was just thinking about. So I'm spitballing aloud as opposed to making any statements. So just keep that in mind. Plenty is going to change. But I absolutely love this server. Totally love it. If I have only one place to be in Minecraft, it would be here. However, with an eye to the fact that I want to start being able to increase who I raid to and so on, I'm not looking for another SMP at all, but I'm wondering about potentially from time to time doing us a bit of a solo player world that's based off of, to start with at least, a copy-paste of an aggregate collection of a lot of my favorite builds I wanted to keep from other worlds. So basically kind of like a creative world, but not, more of an archive world. So we can try out new things and such creatively, but at this, yeah, but at the same time, so this is exactly what I want to stop. But at the same time, it would just be somewhere else other than here. And if I have a build I like, I can try it out there. Part of what I'm running into is sometimes I feel not ready to try out a skill yet, and yet I still want to play. So it's a weird mix. Makes no sense. It's not logical. I get that. Where I'm going with that is to say that I'm looking at having another world, but making it sort of dead simple to figure out what's going on there. And also it's a place to sort of be mental health, sanity, be honest, I guess. I mean, I'm honest here, but what I'm trying to say, I can't quite find the words for. How do I put it? Anyway. I think my thing with this scaffolding in Bedrock, Tim Dog, is probably exactly as you say. Like, it's easy enough to do. Probably just something that boils down to, well, A, me being a derp, but B, I find it's fussy. Like, if you're near the ground, at least, it's fussy. Just because if you're, 5 blocks away or something? Did it again. 5 blocks away from your target zone, you can accidentally place things attached to other things. And I find scaffolding seems to be all over the place that way. It's just because, yeah. Because Delenn is Delenn. Right? Isn't that how it goes? Okay, so can I reverse this? I don't think I can. That would be nice. Nope. Cannot reverse it. Okay. One of my biggest wishes from Minecraft is for things that are bundle related, that Mojang would actually let us reverse the bundles. So if you're turning Minecraft, this looks like they call it a block, but really it's a bundle of bamboo. Come on, guys, logic. But I get that you wouldn't be able to do that with, say a log. This isn't a log. So it's one of the things that modded might do better. Okay, we have excess scaffolding. I'm good with this. That's okay. All right. I'm not going to do all 4 corners because now that I know that I'm not up as high as I thought I was, I can see the other one from where I'm at. It's all good. So, yeah. Maybe Del starts with D because of derp. I don't know. I'm not going to fuss with it. And this is why I'm making it 2x2. Is because my ability to fly onto the top is sus. But actually stopping on it is even more sus. Come on. If I can't stop on a 2x2, there's no way I was going to stop on a 1x1. So yeah. Anyways, I had a bedrock world I'm working on. The thing about it is not that I don't want to go back. I don't know what it is. Something about being on that world makes me uncomfortable in an in-game anxiety way that I'm not sure about. It's dumb. But I mean, I have a place to play. So, kind of why go through that pain? And it's not a one is better than the other. I really don't care which format. I mean, if for some reason... Ugh, heaven forbid. If for some reason that Java really did go away and Bedrock was the only thing, then I would switch over. No big deal. Right? If it went the other way, I'd stay here. I'd keep playing. No big deal. But in the meantime, I grew up on Java. Some of the ways things behave, I'm more comfortable with, and it's just go with what you know, right? There isn't a one better than the other. And I know enough about the other that I can play with, say, the kids or whatever. But I just have a preference. So yeah. How did I grow up on Minecraft in Java was simply that I started early on tablet, didn't like the tablet interface, and then was watching a YouTuber who was playing the SevTech mod pack, and I thought, this is super cool, I love this whole progression concept, so let me try that. But of course you then had to have Java on your PC, Java Minecraft on your PC to be able to do that, so I switched, learned again, and never looked back, really. If I play on a tablet now, I mean, yes, it's Bedrock, but I don't often play on tablet because my familiarity with that interface is long gone. I've tried teaching myself to play with a controller, whether it be on PC or on tablet, and I just can't seem to get the hang of it right now. It's not one of those things that I was making a priority to force myself to do. But the advantage to learning the controller, at least in some respects, is whether I do controller with Java or controller with Bedrock, or controller with, Bedrock on a tablet or something. They're not fully interchangeable, but they're close enough, or can be made close enough, that it makes it, in a way, far more mobile an experience, even if I don't end up being able to take the same worlds with me. But, yeah, I don't play Minecraft mobile all that often. I mean, honestly. There's things I'm addicted to, but Minecraft isn't one of them. There's a couple of youth at our scout groups that are addicted to that point, so like at scout level every once in a while, there was one I used to have to talk to because they would have their phone at scouts. They wouldn't be playing Minecraft, thankfully, but periodically they'd be checking in because their character was away from keyboard, like AFK in Minecraft. And it's like, no, dude, that's not appropriate here. But no. Then they'd be grumpy at me. I got a reputation. It's the player who won't play. Height limit for building 319, and I'm standing at 320. Okay, perfect. That's exactly what we need. And as predicted, we can see the other scaffolding. So if I just go, looking at the mini-map, if I just go towards straight out towards the trees, and then square off to that one, and then etc., then I'll get my shape I need. So let's start with the glass. It's gonna be more than whatever this number is to get there. So let's fill up on glass with what we brought. Yes, I know. I hit the wrong button, so sue me. One more. Just one, please. Thank you. I hit right click instead of left click, and it got mad at me. I heard a swish in the song, and for a second there it freaked me out that it was going to be Sky Rats, and I'm not a fan of that. Okay. That's going to be interesting. How to get the first block going. I should have put this over there, but I didn't. There we go. Wow, that's trippy. This is what I want to bridge forward. But it's kind of funny that you get lines. And does anybody know what those lines are from? Is it because it's chunks or something? Like chunks based on where you're standing? I don't know. That's a very, very trippy thing. So if you guys catch me pausing for a minute, it will be because of vertigo or motion sickness or lack thereof. Come on. Find a center and just keep going. Yes, stop telling me that. Okay, 304 is what we're aiming for. So yeah, while I've been playing for a long time, I just don't need to, or I need to actually improve my skills, but I actually have just been enjoying the comfort of it. So things like I can spend hours chopping trees. I can spend hours mining, you know? Let's see, 526 is where I'm headed. Yeah, I can spend hours and hours doing that, but you don't improve your skills that way. There's nothing wrong with playing it differently, but you definitely don't improve your skills that way. 8, 27, 26. Okay, so I need this one. Has to be, or we're gonna get one weird block of snow. I Actually, I'm out in the middle of nowhere. Doesn't matter. Okay. Doesn't matter. This way. That way. There we go. So 5. 8? Sure. Because I can. Alright. And then I need to go back down to 351. One of the advantages to doing this at build height is for Delen's skill level. There's no way I can accidentally place glass on top of other glass. There's no, you know, Monty Python putting things on top of other things at the moment. Darn. I never thought I'd say this, but I actually wanted the rain to continue. Seven, 8, 9. No, honestly, that's smaller than I thought it was. Okay. So what I'm actually going to do is run down to this end and do that end first because I've got that weird janky corner on the other side. And that will allow me to fill in the strange shape, and then I just have straight rows to go with. I can tell you, by the time this is over, my pinky's going to be sore. Yes, I know that. This allows us to get to the Abbott's Lodging building on the weekend.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hey, Springer Shadow. I still haven't gotten your command created yet, but since you like that one so much, would you like me to make that a part of your command? Because if I'm going to be taking away a lot of the hashtag sounds, just because I'm not using that free service, then maybe that particular one might be one that we can keep. That's cheating? Okay. Okay, I won't cheat that way. I'll see if I can get a youth to record it. Actually, you know, I wonder if I could get my scout troop to record it. Huh. Maybe that's the beavers. So our beavers are like 5 to 7 years old. That might be hilarious, having a whole chorus of them saying that. We'll see. We'll see. I don't lead the beavers anymore, so it would be a huge ask. Cubs, maybe I could. They're the 8 to 10-year-old set. Particularly if they got asked to do all like squeaky voices. Whatever it is, I'll know it's you. But see, the thing is, I'm also actually looking. Another reason it's delaying. The sound is the easy part. Sound's the easy part. I know you asked for. So we're talking about personal commands. Springer Shadow has redeemed their points for a personal command on stream, and they've asked for their logo to show up with some sort of sound. And come on, aw man, oh well. But I'm actually looking at, okay, well, if we're just gonna use their logo, then what's something interesting I can do with that logo in terms of how it arrives? Maybe it spins, maybe it bounces, maybe it, you know, does like a horizontal spin, so you sort of see the front and the back, and so I'm working on that, and that's taking some time. Well, yeah, exactly. The visuals also because thus far we have people who are doing visuals, so why not, right? I mean, my own on Dadcraft73's stream has a visual with it. I don't know if I put the visual on this one. I think I just, like on my version, I think I've just got the sound, but I'm not totally sure what I did on that note, actually. I really don't know what I did. Bouncing across the screen, arriving very annoyingly. It's like, and now for something completely different. Right? Isn't that what it is? I don't think I have the annoy button on my... I should. What I'm thinking of when I say that is... Where is it here? Sounds. Most expensive sound. Nope, it's not. Not the most expensive sound. What the heck? This one. There we go.
We interrupt this program to annoy you and make things generally irritating.
There was one, and I can't remember which one it is. It's not that sound. But that one of our viewers who, unfortunately, we haven't seen in a long time, all they wanted for theirs, rather specifically, was they just wanted their favorite sound they were redeeming to be playable for free. I mean, the one you choose, the Hello Springer, is already free, so what's, kind of what's the point, I guess you could say? But, yeah, so you came in at a perfect time, I guess. It's always a perfect time. It's still in stream. I'm putting glass up at the top of build height. I didn't realize how close I was to build height. I mean, as in that I can actually see part of the monastery. That's what that weird little tray is floating in the air. I was wondering whose farm it was. It turns out it's me. Pardon me. But I'm putting glass up at the build height so that we can actually get on with the monastery by getting rid of the snow. I think there's one or two books that might have referenced something going on in the snow. I'll have to double check my CAD file history and see if there's anything in the new books to me that I have picked up that talks about the weather in that period. We went to, I think I mentioned this one on stream, but I'm not sure. Oh, I ran out of glass. Oh, okay. Well, that's not a big deal. Which way's the tray? And now I lose sight of the tray. Great. There we go. Which means the castle's that way. But where is going with this one? We went to a used bookshop in our neighborhood, or city, I guess, recently, and had a lot of selection. And I came home with a huge armload of books, as in like 20 from the Cat Who series that I referenced last season, and half a dozen, I guess, from the period that the CAD file books are written in, or aimed for. So, for example, the author had a whole bunch of books that were written in the same period, so that some of them have a few of the same characters in them, and some of them are about other characters in that time period. And that's just because, I mean, if you're going to do a whole bunch of research with actual names and know who actually was the lord in that region of England at the time, why not write more novels around the same characters? That's going to be far more glass than we need, but it's easier to get sand than it is to worry about glass. So let's just deal with it. Yes. Do we have how many slots? Do we have 2? Okay, let's clean this up. 1, 2. Some people have huge farms, some people have huge smelters. I never really found a lot of need for a super smelter, but I probably should put that on my list of things to make. I just don't smelt stuff very often. So I should probably figure that out. I mean, part of the reason I don't smelt stuff very often, thankfully, is the stone cutter, because you can easily make a lot of the styles that you would have had to smelt for. It's like some of the polished ones you used to have to smelt for that you don't anymore. Okay, that's not bad. In the meantime, then, while we're waiting for some smeltage... What is that? Holy moly! I actually have something taller than my castle now. That's not good. I mean, I don't mind the gate being taller. But yeah, you know the castle's short when the walkway to protect your walls is taller than your castle. Okay! Well, that project just rocketed its way up the list. Do I have... Why am I doing that? I'm standing there taking an ender chest in my base next to an ender chest. What's this? That's wool. I do have glass. What an idiot. Okay, well, let's go place some more glass. Just gonna drop off the wool shulker. I guess we can get back and finish the project. Which means I should probably stop the furnaces. That would be sensible. Yeah. That would be sensible to stop the furnaces. Well, oopsie daisy. Not in my base. I know that doesn't happen And yet at the same time, while I know it doesn't happen, that one's loud. It still gets me. All right. I need the phone. Sorry, I missed stuff. Oh, yeah. Fox needs his phone line to break? Heavens no. You should see his inbox. It's kind of frightening. Okay, so we have glass, which means I should fill it before I go. Guess I can put that tool back. Oh, maybe not this one, because I need to be able to take the box with me. Let's move that. I think I left a shulker over there, so I'll fill that with glass. That was kind of dumb, but... Oh. Now there's something to land on, right? Can Delenn hit... Can Delenn land on her own glass? Come on. Okay, good. If I couldn't, that would be really lame. Exceedingly lame. Oops. I'm supposed to go forward and I hit the wrong button. Come on. This is not running, but still. The walk feels really slow after you've flown. That's just... I'm going to take too much glass out of my inventory and then put a bunch back, I think. Okay. Can I do it? There we go. Go with that. We should be able to get this done now. Come on. Run, 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 run. Don't fall off. La la. Maybe a shulker will do, maybe it won't. We'll find out. Come on, let's go. Yes, I know. Stop telling me that. Oh, hang on a sec. Get on the glass. And stop telling me about build height. Thank you. So yeah, this is a little bit less exciting for you guys. More exciting for me. Because once we're done this top part, then we can dig out the bottom and hopefully never see the snow again in that spot. Ah! Well, but yeah, I don't normally like doing this. As you guys can tell, I do not like being up here, Sam. I am not quite as bad as spiders, though. It's the fear of falling off, which is why I don't build mountains. I was showing you guys yesterday my flower, and it sounds weird, but yeah, my sunflower I built last season. Not last season, sorry. Jeepers, what, 3 or 4 seasons ago now? That's crazy. Anyway, built a very, very large flower, and it was at least 80 blocks tall, I think. Might have been taller than that. I know I was in the 100 and something to start with, so yeah. But it was nice and tall, and freaked me out pretty good because I kept falling off stuff. And at the time, I didn't. Well, A, I didn't know how to fly. B, so I never owned a pair of elytra. So the only thing I had was, like, you know, feather falling boots, and so if I got knocked off, it was a huge deal. And this is just a deal only because I suck at flying and crashing into stuff. Or if I have a temporary brain fart while I'm flying, or falling, let me correct that, then I don't remember to deploy the elytra. I have on occasion tried to fly with wearing a chest plate. I mean, who hasn't? They say height limit for building is 319, and I kind of wonder why 319 is such a weird arbitrary number. but it's not because of the, I think the build height is actually designed so that you stand on a nice round 320, and so that all the blocks below you end in, if you were to go down to 0, it ends in an even number of stacks or something. It's probably something to that idea. Yeah, I'm still the only one here. Okay. The idea that I'm up here and I can't even put a bed down unless I take a block or two out kind of thing is a little bit disconcerting, but that's okay. Stars are pretty. Before we go down, we'll take a look at it in shaders. I just can't build this sort of thing in shaders. And it's not, I don't think I have any texture packs that would look good with this, as in like making it all utterly invisible. I don't think I have any of those installed right now, but well, we can always take a look and see if there's something corny that would work. It's funny, when I did the first round of glass and it was doing the framing, it didn't feel that big, but now that I'm actually putting the glass down and looking at the minimap to see just where I am in relation to the snow blob, it actually is a lot bigger than it felt. Or than it felt earlier. And now it feels big. Wow, okay guys, sorry. You know, Mario Frenzy type music with glass placement isn't working for me. Sorry guys. Whoa, that's chill. Maybe not. Really? Come on guys, give me something interesting. Nah, that'll do. It's not as chill as it could be. Besides, if I go with lo-fi music, I can put you to sleep. Isn't that a goal? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. One of the things that occurred to me this morning, yesterday I had admitted I was a little bit wound up by the whole falling asleep thing. It wasn't actually meant insultingly in any way when it was originally said, and the person who said it has clarified that many times, so, you know, that's not quite what they meant. I think they were implying soothing voice or something like that. But anyways, the point was, briefly it had me rattled. But it also occurred to me this morning, another reason that it was extra dumb to be rattled by that, was that this time slot, which is one of the ones they admitted dozing in, would have been during that person's workday. And so I can guarantee at least during the morning slots, it's pretty unlikely they fell asleep, because then they would have fallen asleep during their workday. That's not reasonable. Now the evening, on the other hand, I make no guarantees. I mean, on the one hand, if you fall asleep during my stream, then obviously you needed more sleep and probably should have been properly napping. And on the other hand, yeah, if I really am putting people to sleep, then A, we need more feedback to let me know what I really could be and or should be doing. Uh-oh. Come on. Rockets. Try this again. Once I didn't get too close to the ground and I didn't hit a creeper. That's good. But on the other hand, if you are being put to sleep during the evening, let me know what you want to see. Or, on the other hand, you know, like, yes, more power to you, maybe? Basically, the point is, after having a good night's sleep and a bit of coffee, I realized I was being a doofus, and there is nothing to be worried about at all. So, you know, that's all I'm going to say on that subject, because really it is a non-issue. So, yeah. The total non-issue. Because really, I mean, I've listened to people that I can't fall asleep in just because, even though their voice is calming, there's something about them with an energy that just keeps them going, keeps you with it. It's not necessarily like a high energy sort of thing. It just, sometimes there's an element that you just can't sleep through. It might be slightly irritating. It could be what they're saying. It could be their interest. So yeah. To be able to do that, I really wish I could do that. Actually, part of it could also be I practice that intentionally when I'm a leader at camp, And so for all I know, that could be sneaking into my streams. But at camp, sometimes we have, at the 8 to 10-year-old set, we are often getting new kids that have never camped before, and sometimes it's their very first night away from home. Not exactly the world's wisest decision to send your kid for, a camp for a whole weekend with some other leader the very first time they're away from home. That's not necessarily great, but I also get that some families don't have any other options for exposure. It's not like they all have grandma living in town or something, or a sleepover or whatever. So at camps, it's very common for me to have to help talk an anxiety-filled kid into going to sleep for the night, because quite often they're just tired. Like their reserves are gone, and they need to get that rest to be able to handle the rest of the weekend. Usually, if you get them through the first night, they're fine, and then they've got activities and friends to be hanging out with during the day. And then if they have anxiety again the second night, it's usually easier to talk them back to sleep calmly, by letting them know that it's sort of a mental countdown until their parents come and get them, in which case they've got something to look forward to that's soothing, and we get them through that second night fairly easily. So, maybe sometimes if I'm putting people to sleep, for all I know, I could be using tones and turns of phrase sometimes that I would have used to put pre-tweens to sleep. So yeah, maybe there is that. As I've said a few times, the streaming started because I was having to do scout meetings at 2 different younger age levels over Zoom because of COVID breaks, and so for all I know, maybe I could have slipped back into that pattern from time to time. Being a calmer, reserved player in terms of how I play in Minecraft also can be sleep-inducing, just because it's old hat to many players. I'm good with that. Right? So anyway, where was I going to go with this? There was a story I had to tell this morning, and now I can't remember what it was. That's too bad. Anyway. But yeah, I need to get into my books so that I know there's never enough hours in the day. I keep complaining about that, but I need to actually start getting into reading some of my new to me books so that I've got more content, more material to discuss or bring up online. And I haven't seen any weirdness go by with relation to the Geek Out. I suspect it was covered the moment it popped up on screen, but the Geek Out currently was miscellaneous. 2 brands of chewing gum. And one of the things I found interesting this summer is not all brands are the same. What I mean by that is we have a few different brands in North America that, as far as I know, are not available across the pond. Over on the east of the Atlantic side. And so I'm always curious to know which ones stick out for people. Like out here, some of the more oddball brands. When I was a kid, we had something called Big League Chew, and as it sounds, it was shredded so that it's a little bit more like a pouch of chewing tobacco. Grown-up material and all that. But you'd get a picture of a cartoon baseball player on the outside of the package. And it was quite a large package, but it was one of those ones, the early ones that had. We still see it a lot now, actually. For reclosable packages, basically it had a foil layer in with the plastic on the outside and inside, and that foil layer just provided the stiffness so that you could roll the top down when you weren't using it. Unlike a real chewing tobacco pouch, they didn't have peel and stick gummy layer or a Velcro or something. But then it was actually kind of amusing because I remember when I was really young, it used to come with instructions on the side about grabbing a huge wad and shoving it in your cheek and then chewing it from there, which I thought was really kind of odd. But then later on, that same area of instructions was replaced, and I think somebody must have got their nose in a knot, and can't blame them because of what it was emulating. But it was replaced instead with suggestions on how to make the most effective large bubblegum bubble. Which, of course, is not something you can do with chewing tobacco. That'd be gross if you could, actually. So yeah, they had tips and tricks on how to get the biggest chewing gum bubble. But I'm trying to remember what else we had for weird ones. Back in the day when cigarettes were kosher, you used to be able to get chewing gum cigarettes. So they would actually have like a powdered sugar or something infiltrated in the end that you could blow through your cigarette and get that to puff out. And then after that sort of got annoying or boring, you peel off a layer of paper and then you could chew the chewing gum. I've known several kids who just liked the whole thing paper and all and just ate it, as in chewed the paper in with the gum. Though they would complain they couldn't make good bubbles that way. Well, yeah, that's kind of the point. I can't remember the brand of that second one, though, the chewing gum cigarettes. I know Popeyes did candy sticks that were supposed to emulate that, but I can't remember who else did. And the Popeye stuff is still around, though, but they call it now candy sticks. And they're much, much narrower, whereas they used to be fairly large. The empty shulker box. There we go. Like they used to be, you know, thickness of a pencil or something like that, but because of all the changes regarding what you can and can't do with things emulating other things, then, shoot, I should not have turned off the smelter thing after all, though, I mean, from this distance you wouldn't get much, but still, it would have been helpful. Hubba Bubba, yes, that's a good brand. I was actually, the root of what was relevant to you, Springer Shadow, was that sometimes on your side of the ocean there are brands available that we don't get over here, and possibly vice versa. Hubba Bubba's a good one. I think the ones I'm thinking of, I'm not going to differentiate between chewing gum and bubble gum because over here there really is a difference. For example, if you were to try and use, say, Excel gum, where their big thing is all about freshening your breath, then you probably would get really horrible, not probably, you do, get really horrible bubblegum bubbles if you try to blow a bubble. Same sort of thing if you were to use Hubba Bubba as just a plain old chewing gum, it can be kind of a mushy mouthfeel, at least to start with. So is grape, are you referring to grape as a flavor or as a brand? I haven't personally seen that one, but I'd be curious. Some of the other ones we have over here, between the chewing gum, bubble gum, whatever, we've got, I think 5 used to be is a flavor. I can't remember if that one's still around or not. It's not an old one, it's a modern one that may have disappeared, because I haven't seen it in many stores. We've got, was it Trident? Does anybody remember Wrigley's? Wrigley's gum? They used to say it freshens your breath while you chew, or something like that. It basically, if you've seen one of the modern, or even the modern making fun of the 80s type of Mentos mint ads, Wrigley's gum used to have a similar one. Then we have Juicy Fruit. I remember those jingles from the 80s and 90s. It's like, I think their tagline was something like the taste that's gonna move you. And they would have ridiculous ads about things like people snowboarding while chewing gum, which is not the world's smartest idea, but, good luck with that. But they were trying to get people to do stuff. They were people chewing gum and blowing bubbles while water skiing. Like, I mean, come on. What kind of a stupid promo is that? Yeah. Blow your bubble, pop, I can't see, trip, smash. It's like, yeah, great. What else have we got? Yeah, I think I said 5. Dentine is a popular one. I'm trying to figure out what else we've got. Because Dentine has a bunch of sublines, like fire and ice and so forth. And one on my desk here. What is it here? What's this one? This is... Oh, it's Excel. Yeah, okay. This is Excel Spearmint. Actually, that's a disgustingly old package of Excel, too. Do they have expiry dates on these things? The best before date on this one is 24th of April 2020. Well, think about most products, whether it be even spoilables, just because it says best before doesn't mean awful after. I mean, now milk might be a little different, particularly in the across the pond. I hear all kinds of stories about how milk, you take the lid off, and if it's not gone in like 3 or 4 days, it goes off. Doesn't quite happen here, but yeah. Cinnamon chewing gum. Well, I know that there's a fire version of the cinnamon chewing gum, as in like Dentine Fire, but I'm trying to remember, there is another one that we've got out here. Juicy Fruit. The most popular parody name for that I've ever heard of was Juji Fruit. Juji Fruits. And then Juji Fruit for a while was also a brand of like fruit gummies. Not gummy bears per se, but kind of like wine gums without the wine. Yeah, Dentine does have cinnamon, yeah. That's one of their fire lines. There was one that was actually just as the only one they made was cinnamon. I think that was kind of their point to be, and I can't remember what it was called though. Sort of like gumdrops, yeah. Like when you talk about being a Potter fan, there's the lemon ones that Dumbledore likes. Supposedly that line now exists, or it always has, I can't recall, but it was its own thing. Sort of like how when people talk about, oh shoot, what are they called? The proper name for them I can't remember, but the cinnamon heart candies you often get at like Valentine's. Or sometimes, weirdly enough, the cinnamon hearts show up at Halloween, and I don't understand why that is. And I don't think it's people just saving their candy for a whole year. I mean, we can do that. By now, we could probably supply the entirety of the neighborhood Halloween, maybe not neighborhood Halloween collection, but at least our contribution to it. Big Red Gum. Yes. Yes, I remember that one. I remember that one. And then, of course, the original... there was somebody at one point that had patented the word gumball. So that actually used to be a brand in itself. You know, I mean, way, way, way back in the day, so to speak, when products frequently, the brand name was flat out the description of the thing, just because the law worked that way. And there's still products that do that with some of their names. I wish I could think of one as I'm talking about it. I had one on the tip of my tongue and now I can't find it. But there's some products that just, they are what they say they are, and that's really all there is to it. Yeah, there was gumballs with gumball branded machines, exactly. As a nerd, I was actually quite pleased the other day to see one of the modern gumball machines used not to dispense gumballs, but they were dispensing gaming dice. Okay, well, I guess we're going to have to go do something a little bit different for a while we turn the smelter thing back on. But that's okay. Because we're almost back to the end, but we're out of glass. So, there's a pun waiting to be said here, but I'm not going to say it, because, yeah, it's not nice. But there's totally a pun waiting to be said there. Need this one. Let's see. Yeah, it's probably better. Okay. So back we go to the castle. You know, I was thinking we've got, it's not my cup of tea, but we've got, you know, Dadcraft used to have the Leap of Faith. I was actually thinking, for a more calm version, as I said, I'm still too chicken to do it, but for a more calm version, it might be kind of fun to do something along the lines of, like, cliff jumping, in a way where you jump from various heights without deploying your elytra, and then see how close to the ground you can get before you choose to deploy them. I should maybe throw that out for someone who would actually do that as a game in a game district or something. Because you could build a tall tower with like markers at various different heights, and then wherever you deployed your elytra would be sort of your score. Kind of like, yeah, Splat. See, I've never played Splat, so I didn't know it was called that. I mean, for the longest time, I didn't know what Spleef was either. Spleef sounded like, you know, a mispronunciation of of a nickname for marijuana cigarettes, or marijuana roll-ups, I guess. I'm gonna have to sit up high. It's funny, I've got I've got a smaller microphone now, which is great. Picks up well, but yet it's just off the corner of my screen, and I like that it's smaller for that and it picks up, because I don't have to be really close to it. It just, every once in a while, I look at it and I go, I wonder if anybody's actually hearing anything, or if I sound like I'm really far away in a bucket. Oh, yeah. Well, the idea's come up a couple of times. I don't think it's me who said it, but a sort of idea like that has come up a few times, because when I see people's tunnels in Bedrock servers, that's interesting. I don't recall turning these on. Maybe I just did that absentmindedly and didn't realize. Oh, I know what I'm doing. Duh. I didn't turn them on. It's gonna keep going because all I really did was shut off the hopper pull from that. Okay. Now I understand. 42. Nice. But where I was going with that is I've been seeing people's Bedrock tunnels and they'll put like wire... No, it's not actually. Tom, in case you're curious, it's a Elgato Wave 3 USB model. And the reason I stayed USB is not just that I have a huge messy desk, I'll someday post a picture, but also because it's not perfect, but more and more of the mixer software will do what I need because I'm not pro. So I haven't got myself all into voice meter and whatnot yet. I use the free cables from it, but I don't actually use the voice meter itself. But I could use that, or because I've got the Elgato Wave stuff, I could play around with that and get that to sound the way I want. The problem with doing it that way, though, is it doesn't easily allow me to mute sources in OBS, or separate pieces. I mean, I can mute mic and whatever, but I'd end up muting everything coming through that source to OBS rather than just the individual pieces. So I could do it, but it's just a bit of a pain. But yeah, so there's ins and outs for the Wavelink software as well. It does. It's also got stuff on the outside that I don't even know what it does. Like, there's things you can press, there's things you can... Yeah. I don't even really know what all of them do. But the funny part was, actually, I started the first stream I had, right after I got it, with exactly the same settings I'd used on my Yeti mic. I knew my Yeti wasn't perfect. That's Blue Yeti, which is no longer their own company. They got bought by Logitech, so I don't know what they call it now. Might be the Logitech Yeti, might be the Logitech Blue Yeti, I don't know. Anyways, point is, one, I didn't think that there would be longer term support should something go wrong. But the other, I'm looking for the glass, right? Okay. The other thing about it was that it's big, it's heavy, so the boom mic we have for it is rather excessive. Thankfully, it's doing really well holding the Elgato where I need it to. But yeah, Yeti doesn't work well on a lot of regular mics. So, long story made short, because it's getting crazy. I started with exactly the same settings, and I asked the Fox, who's a little picky about his sounds. I asked him to be picky and give feedback and say, hey, what does it sound like? And he said, well, it sounds like I'm in the room with you. I said, is that a good thing or a bad thing? And he goes, well, I think it's a good thing. So yeah, I'm going to have to ask someone who's even more of an audiophile, such as, gee, maybe I'll go talk to ITT Tom? Or someone else and just say, hey, can you be really picky and tell me more about it? Now, the picky without nerdy is the hard part, because I wouldn't know which direction to adjust things or anything like that. Like, in truth, I would need a sound engineer to pop by in real life, and that's not likely. Okay, so in the meantime, while that glass is doing its thing, because we are at an hour and a half, first question, if Fantastic Shock Fox can hear me, just curious to know what his meeting schedule is like. Because clearly, like, he works from home and I'm at home, that we tend to spend lunch together. So I'm kind of curious to know what his schedule would be like in terms of whether or not I can afford to go long. Because in spite of whatever you guys may be up to today, I'm having a blast. So I may just leave the stream running and keep prattling on or whatever for a bit longer if people are interested. Okay, we're waiting on the glass. I'm debating. Do I chop more trees or do I do wall work? It's a tough one. Probably wall work is a little bit less distracting. This one, these, those, logs. Where did I put the logs? Well, that was my question, is whether or not I could afford to go long. Fantastic Sherlock Fox. Finally off calls for a few minutes. So can I afford to go long, or do we need to stay fairly short today? Flexible? Awesome. What seems to be the room itself? We'll have to dig into that one a little bit further. But at another time, because today's not the day. Keep moving, bumping the mic, so apologies for bumping it, guys. Just stay still, stay. There we go. But yeah, I mean, as I say, audiophile and all that. Oops, wrong way. Alright, so, where was I at? I was trying to make some space because I need more. Need these. I need more fences, that's what I'm trying to say. And I wanted to put out that to get the toolbox. One of those. Is that extra? Nope, that's not extra. That's for glass. Let's put this at the other end then. I'm organized enough that I keep taking everything with me. It just doesn't compute to leave things here. All right. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of other like room ambient stuff that's leaking through. I probably will have a fan that's leaking through as well at some point here. Not a fan, sorry. Wrong season, now that I think about it. I'm gonna say I'll have other sounds because I've got stuff to turn on, but actually it's an oil heater, so you're not gonna hear an oil heater. That doesn't happen. Okay, there we go. So, this one, and we need some more blocks so that we can make more. It's not what I wanted. That's okay, I don't need those fences, I need the other fences. That's okay, I still need these blocks anyways, so no real loss. Do I have slabs? I do not. Please do. Yeah, that's exactly what that channel's for. That's exactly what that channel is for. I can't seem to think today. I really off the bean. Off the ball. Not that I was ever on the ball to start with, but okay, there we go. And then I need spruce for fences. No, that's jungle. 3, 2, spruce. You jump to the ground, perfect. Let's make some fences. Why is it I can never remember what the recipe is for that? Pardon me. Pardon me. Sorry. One of the things I also would like to see, and it's probably part of a mod, so, you know, I just forget those things. That's something I'd like to see Minecraft also have at some point, is an easy ability to what do you call it, to craft things. So here, I mean, I right-click and I can choose whatever the recipe is because I've got a mod. But in Minecraft base, you normally have to wait till things cycle, then click fast to try and get what you want. But it would be nice if I've already got a partial stack of whatever it is, that it'd be good if I could just grab more of it and call it a day. Normally I wouldn't care about one stick. There's planks. Alright. What's I looking for? I can't recall. That's okay. Take a quick pause, just grab a coffee break, or a coffee sip, and blow my nose, and I'll be right back. Sorry for the disappearing part. A split sec. If you guys need to refresh, go right ahead. And we're back. Alright. Sorry about all of that. Just felt like a sneeze was coming on, and I figured I should probably, no bad puns intended, jump on that before it blows me away. Or your ears. Alright. I'm going to take another fly through and see if we have a lot of glass built up yet. I don't think so. But if we can get ourselves closer to finishing, then we at least finish a project. I've got enough going that I've got 3 and a bit stacks, or 2 and a bit stacks, which might be enough to get us finished. Let's give it a go and see what we get. You can see it, which is kind of disappointing, but it's as high as I can go, so... But at least on the other hand, I can see it well enough that I'm not going to fly into it. I'm not going to fly into the glass. Thank you very much. Sorry for the brief digression. All right. Let's get ourselves a new geek out as well. Huh, okay. 2 band or group trios. So, some of them would have had, individual names. Some of them would have had group names. I think technically the Supremes were a trio, even though I can't recall if there was 3 in that group, or if 3 included Diana Ross. That's the only one I can think of, though. I mean, there's a few that used to be like in the 50s and whatever, there's been such and such a trio, but I can't recall any by name. So if we can't grab another response fairly soon, we'll just skip this one because it's a bit of a difficult one. In case you guys are curious, I don't know if I'll have it ready for the weekend. I'm hoping, but I've got 2 new Geek Out sets to add to the question pile. One is Disney themed, so I will add it in equally whether people, you know, are into Disney or not. And then the other one is just sort of the Geek Out base game. The only one that we don't own is the Geek Out Family Edition. And it's not that any of these are unfamily friendly, but the Family Edition is supposed to have questions that even young kids can answer. Is the Bee Gees a trio? See, the thing is, I wasn't sure if Bee Gees and Pet Shop Boys were duos or trios. That's the question. Hey! I ran out of glass just in time. There's no holes. Yay! All good. Okay. I mean, ideally, if I had 2 pieces of glass, we'd get rid of that tower on this side. But I don't have glass. Okay, so let's not fall to our doom, but it's possible. Because as many people have noted, one of the things about Java is we do tend to have far too many abilities to fall and hurt ourselves. We don't get random, you know, damage that catches up with you later and you wonder where it came from. Java doesn't do that, but you can definitely get the scaffolding to make you crash. And the reason I'm not going and going down to the bottom and just taking it down from there and having everything fall is because the scatter radius gets to be a little ridiculous. So I'm hoping I can catch part of it, well, till my inventory's full at least, from taking it down as we go. Then when we get down there, I'll open up a shulker, put away what I can, and go at it again. Yeah, Bug Rock. I was gonna say Boo Boo Rock, but that's more Bruise Rock. There we go. Bruise Rock. Because it loves to give you damage all over the place. You never really know where it came from, like when you bump your elbow on something and you get a bruise 2 or 3 days later and you don't really realize why you've got this big, you know, yellowy purple thing on your elbow. But yes, this is the slow way to come down. So I'm clicking repeatedly as opposed to simply holding down the mouse, because Java version you can take the scaffolding fast enough with even a wood axe that you can hurt yourself, which is not great, because of course obviously you're not going to have a Elytra's blade or something like that, because you can't when you're standing on stuff. So slow and steady, I guess, maybe. Okay, we're beyond what we can carry in our inventory. Let's do this. People aren't going to believe me if I don't chop straight down, but with all 4, I think I've got enough slowing down that at least survive to the bottom. Yay! I mean, another way of looking at the whole thing, Tom, is if my vocal settings for the stream were all that far off, it'd be yet another reason that I'd be putting people to sleep if they couldn't hear me, or I would be not putting people to sleep if they heard me all too well. You know? So, yeah. No complaints is where I was at, right? No news was good news. Good enough news. This in there, and hit this button until we don't have any more coming in. That and that. Let's fill some space. Going around. As I walk along, I wonder. Run away for that song, not run around. She took my love and she ran around. guess technically that's not really family friendly, but come on, about dating. I mean, if a kid at 2 hasn't figured out that their parents at some point most likely dated, we have a problem. Now, I recognize there are some cultures where you don't date, but that's not ours. So, yeah. We'll get there. We'll get there. I suspect, if anything, if I was to set a goal for myself for this season that's not related to the game... Oh. That's odd. You might send MSF into an audio black hole. Uh-oh. As in one of those never-ending situations? That's okay. When it comes to testing for that sort of thing, what often I do is I do record and listen back, but I'll try and, of late, I realized if I record on my PC and listen back on my PC, I'm not necessarily getting the full picture. So if I record on my PC and then go listen back via a web interface on my laptop, then I get a better picture of what other people are seeing. Okay, do we have the space? Yeah, we do. It's raining scaffold. Not tacos instead. Kind of an interesting look, though. Like a star field. Come on. Run around, pick this stuff up. I don't mind having golems outside the building, but I'll have to probably do something about the inside. I wanted the floor to be flat, but I guess I'm not going to get that luxury. And for the clicks. Got it. Okay, good. So we're cleaned up, which means that in theory, yeah, I can't see the thing. That's good. I was worried that I'd be too close. In theory, then, if I put this away, most of this mess away, then I should be able to scoop the snow out instead. That was stage 2, but I couldn't finish that until we were done with stage 1. Where are we here? First question, how many? Second question, why did you have to sing that song? Now my son's running around singing that loudly. Yeah. Sorry, Springer Shadow, I do apologize. My daughter showed me that song, It's Raining Tacos. And I don't know if I regret knowing about it or not. I really don't know. Come on. I'd love to be able to just run across, but as you can see, I dig the dirt too. So it's clickety-clickety as we go. With the occasional stop to fill the hole. And hoping I don't find a cave in the process. You have no idea how much influence streamers have on my young teenager. Oh, I could see that. If the teenager is old enough to have their own account, yeah, I could see that, totally. I mean, it's not even streamers, it's also just general content creators. For example, I can't remember what the phrase is now we used to, or that we started using, but there was something initially we picked up from Pixel Riffs, and then there was a period that we picked up stuff from Pigglesworth, and I know I've picked up phrases from Dadcraft73 for sure. Totally. Not things like for sure and for certain, because that isn't just something it's just something we don't hear up here. I'm in Canada, Western Canada, in case you guys hadn't figured it out. But there's definitely things that we do and don't say up here. Janky has made it into our vocabulary, which apparently I didn't know was a thing or was a phrase already in use, something similar at least, at my son's school. But apparently it's also a verb. I didn't know that, so you can jank something, and that's where things get janked up. Or something can be jank, which I thought was weird because I had never heard that before either. For a very, very brief period, I know I was doing it, switching back and forth between an east of the Atlantic pronunciation of like we use inventory and inventory, and I would switch back and forth sometimes in the same sentence. And that's just a habit I picked up from when I was at work. We mentioned this before, that I've picked up that when I was at work as a call center person in tech support, that if I've been talking to someone from the UK, I would pick up some of their phrasing or briefly some of their pronunciations of words. They never took it rude because, I don't know, it just, maybe because it slipped in and I wasn't trying to mock. They figured out I wasn't intending to be mean or something. But I picked up stuff like that. Thankfully, I don't pick up Middle East ones. My father did, or does, and that's a little rough in terms of people's reactions to it. So, yeah. But I've done that sort of thing. So sometimes turns of phrase just work their way in to my vocabulary. Or worse. I say for better or for worse, but no, for worse. I know I was bugging people for a long time, and even Dadcraft for a while, about the phrase pieces parts. We don't hear it all that much anymore because he wasn't doing progression where he needed to build all the bits to create the next thing. But there was a lot of discussion of whether or not he would be having all the pieces parts needed for various projects. We don't say that up here. I mean, we'll get pieces, we'll get parts, but we don't have pieces parts as sort of a hyphenated term. It's not something we hear up here. So I used to think that was incredibly funny because it seemed so out of context at the time. Not out of context, sorry, out of place, I guess. But, you know, there isn't a right or wrong way to say things. In truth, the right or wrong way about saying things is really whether or not it's hurtful. It's really what it boils down to for me. So you can say generally things whatever way you want. And honestly, the thing that catches me more than pronunciations is actually my choice of grammatical structure. I will mess something up and that will bother me longer than mispronouncing a word. But that's okay. You know, see, there's another one. I wish I could erase that from my vocabulary. I didn't pick it up from a streamer. I don't know where I got it, and I just can't seem to get rid of it. It's kind of like the stereotype of Canadians, eh? Mine's you know. But the more I watch streamers and YouTube content creators, the more I recognize which ones are very comfortable public speaking, which ones are not. And there's some that are very comfortable public speaking but still have a lot of filler terminology. Like stuff like that. So ums and likes and uhs and pauses, like there's different ways that people will fill in their conversational gaps. And some have longer ones or more frequent ones than others. I'm becoming more aware of that, which is good, but the problem I have with becoming aware of that is just my own reaction to it. Sometimes it's notable, and sometimes it's not, but I have been known, didn't get caught on it, thankfully, by anybody other than my own kids, I guess, but I have been known to slightly cringe if somebody's hesitation gets excessive, and that's not fair to them, and it's just not polite. So a lot of it is for that very reason. Some of those types of things I'd been tempted to ditch the face cam, but that's just because I was being self-conscious about things like that. But anyway. Wow. If there's going to be an earworm, I guess that's one of the safer earworms to have. But yeah, you don't have... This is where hearing challenges could be a boon. On the other hand, it's not great. One of the things I think we're just going to have to live with, I had completely forgotten about, is the grass biome blend change. So we've got what looks almost like, I don't think some people can see it if you've got color blindness challenges, but there's definitely a blend. So this is more, to me, this is green, right? And it's going to stay green. This one, to me, it's green, but it still has like a much more blue hint to it. And it just feels weird. That's okay. It's not like I'm trying to prevent snow in an actual, like, snow-only biome. Arctic blah blah blah, or ice hills or some such thing. I find this funny because the biome on the mini-map is listing as Grove, which is great, but that doesn't really tell you much of anything. I mean, if you know what biome normally is Grove, right, you would know. But, I mean, it doesn't tell you much of anything in terms of, what type of grove is it? Because a grove, isn't that just like a collection or stand of trees? Sure, yep. Give me just a sec to sleep, and then I will show you. Alright, okay. So, I'm standing in what I consider to be a very blue type biome. The one marked Grove. Okay? It seems to be, the grass is sort of bluish. If you look out towards the monastery, and I'll cross the borderline here, you see it gets into the old growth birch, but this spot's nice and open, and it's a more yellowy green. And that's a big difference. And then there's the blend in between, right? Where the thing crosses. So I find that the one on this side where the bed is much more blue than the other one. It becomes more pronounced when you're looking at, maybe not, I don't know. You guys may be able to see it when I'm here on the mini-map, or on the map add-on. It's sort of a teal color as opposed to teal, yeah. Teal maybe? Aqua? Something along those lines. Whereas the one closer to the monastery is definitely notably green. Almost to a darker, but has hints of whatever makes lime. So, yeah. That's what I'm seeing. I mean, your mileage may vary. It's another good way of looking at it. So if I'm standing in the blue, so this grass, if I put it down over here, it sort of matches, right? And if I let it sit, it kind of matches, but it's more the one in the middle, like the crossover zone. And then if I go over to this blue zone, it's going to be blue when I put it down, right? Well, the more bluegrass. But if I just throw it on the ground, oh, not the shovel, the grass, not the shovel. So I throw the grass on the ground, you might be able to see the contrast a bit better that way. Because you've got the very green grass sitting on top of the more blue hinted stuff, so it's definitely a different shade. In any case, it's just something I can live with that far easier than I can live with the snow, so we're good. We're gonna get this snow out of here because we can't build until the snow's gone. Well, I don't want to build the residence until the snow's gone. I think I've got enough. I've got enough pulled back I could build the residence, so we're not stuck. It's not critical, but it would look weird if I stop now. Not just that I have a straight line. Now that I've exposed the grass, I might as well go ahead and take off the rest of the snow. I suppose the argument is with all the extra moisture, it's a lusher grass. I suppose. Here's another one I find interesting. I'm going to come at this end, and we'll see it as we get up to the block. Once again on the color front. I think that's safe, okay. So it's just my own impressions. But this grass without, it's in the bluish zone under the snow, right? The grass without the snow on top seems to have sort of the more, I don't know, blue direction tone hints. But yet the green bits of grass kind of sticking out under the snow at the bottom edge here, next to the speckles in the dirt. Those to me seem to be more olive. It's probably my imagination, but they're definitely more green than the blue hints of the edge of the snow. So I would love to be able to try and get those two colors side by side to figure out if they are the same or not. I mean, there's ways of doing it easily, is to just take a screenshot and then use like a color picker type thing to pick each of those colors and then just see what the code differences are. Because maybe it's the same and just because of its neighboring pixel, it's different. I don't know. But to me, it looks different. So if you're going to have a bluish grass and then have snow on top and have a greenish one underneath that, it just didn't make sense. But then again, a lot of the stuff that I comment on doesn't make sense and doesn't have to make sense. It's a game. No, I don't need to be asking for realism in everything. Right? I mean, to some extent, it's a fantasy. I know that sounds weird. Like, Minecraft is definitely fantastical, but it's also a fantasy in that by being the nature of the blockiness it is, you're not going to get reality. Ever. And we don't have physics behavior that works. I know there's mods for that, but they still don't mod everything. The whole world doesn't act like the outside world, and why would we want it to? If my world, if I went to grab my coffee cup and it was, cubic, that would just not be pleasant. Not just to hold, I mean, we have round hands and so on. That would be a thought experiment that's probably nightmare fodder. Not really, scary, but something that my brain would chew on over and over is what would our world be like in photorealism, in reality, if it was all blocky like Minecraft. It doesn't have to be 1 meter by 1 meter blocks or whatever. But if it was all blocky like Minecraft, what would it be like? My question would be things like our noses. Would we have as much variety in people's noses? Or eyebrows or something like that. What would our cars look like? I mean, I'm not a huge fan of the boxy look type cars. I like a slightly more streamlined shape. But some of the ones that are older, where we had the really long nose on the front of cars, because not only do we have large engines, but we also have like an aerodynamic shape to it. I'm not a huge fan of those either. They just look too squashed. But yeah. It'll be Delen's likes and dislikes of the day. But I mean, just if all we had was blocky cars, let's go assuming that they still function, right? Because truth is, Minecraft, when you see mods that have like engines and stuff, very frequently they don't actually make logical sense. Even if you were to make small and blockize the parts, they don't make sense. I mean, what would... And it's not all Minecraft eyes, I mean rather literally block eyes. So for example, if we're talking wiring, it wouldn't all have the world's wiring turn into, particle powder emitting redstone or something like that. But we'd still have electrical wiring. It just might be a very square edge without a rounded edge to it. So rather than being a rounded wire, we might have a, I don't know, rectangular prism, I guess, shaped wire? Just be the thought experiment that I think I'll probably think on, dream on, but it's not practical. And I'm very thankful that it's not practical. Can you imagine what it would be like, though, to go outside your house, and if all of the snow particles or hail on the ground was cubic? Initially, that would be a weird feeling, I suspect, because it's not something you would be comfortable with. But if it was always like that, that would make for some different physics properties, in the way that cubic things like salt sit on each other. It would make for very different driving conditions, for sure. Or walking conditions. It would make for weird sounds on the outside of your house, so your snow probably wouldn't make some of the sort of soft blanketing noises that we get out of the irregular elements of the shape. Or at least the more rounded elements of the shape. Square ones would probably have a bit more of an actual hiss type sound when large quantities of snow particles are hitting your house. I don't know. If everything was blocky, I don't think I'd like spiders anymore. Any more than I'd like them now. In-game or out. In any case, I'm just wandering off in tangents because that's just what's on my mind at the moment. Let's get a new geek out and a new question of the day. Okay, so let's turn this the other way. Current question of the day is, would you rather go to a movie in a theater or to a concert? So, a movie in a theater, or would you rather go to a live concert? I'm assuming by a concert they mean music, so we're not talking live theater versus movie. So, would I rather go to a movie? That's a good one. Depends on the genre of the movie and of the concert. So, if it was a movie that or if it was like a, I don't know, rom-com or something, maybe. A superhero flick, maybe. Once again, also, not just the genre that it's in, but what are the genres that are in competition with each other? Because, I mean, if it was like classical music, but then my trade-off, if it was like, let's say, a rap music concert, because I know I don't like rap, but my trade-off was a horror flick, I would probably want to go see the rap music concert. I'd even take Screamo at that point. But if it was something like that, and then the movie was, I don't know, maybe just a mystery? Sure, movies, hands down. TV, 2 educational science shows. Are we including or excluding the... Oops. Aha! Didn't see... Oh, I can't spell. Didn't see you come in. Alrighty. So Poodle Pirate slept. I was trying to figure out why it just suddenly went day. Yeah. I was thinking, let's get to the end of this row, and then it becomes day. It's like, what? We're not that far from being done, though. I keep expecting to have a full block that I'm going to need to dig up, because I've been ignoring the snow in here for quite some time. But it looks like Minecraft has a thing where it doesn't keep getting deeper and deeper, and I actually never really considered whether that existed or not. Because once you've got a snow layer, it seems to be able to snow as much as it wants without getting an extra layer. Anyway. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. So, just thinking, I was pondering for myself for a second here what sort of fodder I could use for those moments when I've got a bit of a, I don't know, brain blank and can't think about what I was talking about or where I was originally going with my story. and need a new topic to talk about. It's not just a simply talk amongst yourselves kind of thing, but what can I talk about sort of deal. And it's not that I'm drawing a blank right now, I was actually thinking about how to prevent that. Anyway, case in point, or not case in point, example. So I was thinking about what old TV shows would have done, and it reminded me of the old game show called Talk About. It's very much like the board game or family game Taboo. So the idea with Taboo was you're supposed to get somebody to guess a word without saying a particular list of words, right? As in that you get. So we might be talking about maybe you have to get them to guess lion, but you couldn't use words like cat. You may not be allowed to use words like roar or claws, that sort of thing. And then it reminded me I hadn't told you guys about the other game that is going to be coming on stream. To start with, I'm going to do it backwards compared to the way the offline version is supposed to be run. The game, so some of you may be familiar with it, it's called Poetry for Neanderthals. If you're not familiar with it, no loss. As I said, I'm going to be doing it backwards to what is sort of the design in the box. Now, the idea is my version is going to be more definitions for Neanderthals. That's a long mouthful. But the way the game works in its offline form, I guess, is that people will get a card, and they have to try and get their partner or the opposite team, depending on how you're doing it, to guess the word on the card. But they can only use one-syllable words. In stream, I think because we don't actually have the multiple players for two teams, what I'm probably going to do is just do it a little bit like the Geek Out, but put a header for whatever the game is, and just simply say, how would you define this to a Neanderthal? So once again, you only would have one-syllable words, but the idea is to come up with a definition. Once again, as with Geek Out, there's no points at this point in time. We can always morph the game and change it, sort of a bit of an experiment, a live experiment. But the idea would be able to do that, sort of crowdsource it. For example, the box, I'm just going to grab it here. The box example they give you is the term campfire. Okay? Now, if I was trying to get you to guess the word campfire, we could use things like describing making s'mores. So, hot place where you roast soft white cube. Right? That's roasting marshmallows. So that's they have two categories, easy categories and hard categories for the purposes of our stream. I think I would use them both just in our random pile. So it could be campfire, you have to describe that, or you may be describing campfire stories. And so there's really no guessing involved in the online version. The guessing would be because you're playing it in an offline style, I guess is really where that goes. Okay, so we've got this spot all cleaned up, which is good. We'll make sure, we hope we will have no snow because we have a big oversized canopy. That should keep the snow from being a thing. So I think, I'm not excited about doing the walls, but I think that's probably where we're going to head next because we need a bunch of that wall work done. Sooner the better. As you can see from this angle as well, the wall at the moment is higher than the castle. So we need to rectify that problem post-haste. I also need to take down some of this hill so that it does not look quite so ridiculous compared to the size of the castle. It's supposed to be a Mott and Bailey style castle, so even if we make it twice the height, and unfortunately too narrow, but that's fine, we'll make it twice the height, and take this part of this down here, it will still look a little bit weird in the area. We'll just have to deal. But I want to get the fence done before we start redoing projects. Do I have what I needed? Yes. Okay, I've got what I need. Up we go. I could fly, but I just want to make sure as we go that I haven't forgotten other things. Okay, this one. I need torches. That's exactly what I was looking for. Yeah. Right, torches. That's what I was doing. This one. There. Let's put this box down, because if I get to the end and haven't finished with the torches, I've got other things that need to be going there. So that I'm pretty sure I need first. These. Okay, can I get all of this stuff back in my inventory, maybe? Oops. The snow out of there. There we go. Okay, close enough. What is that? That's all snow? Yeah, snow and scaffolding. That is... Move the scaffolding back into the toolbox, because that would make more sense to me, logically. So that I know where to find it when I need it, rather than making a whole ton more. This one, and that one. Alright. So now we're back to lighting up the place. Right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Go. Back to 0. 1. Oops. Move this one over here. That'll do. Okay, back down to 0. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This one here. Zero. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There, that should do the trick. Yeah. Excuse me. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, actually, it's down to 0 first. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That way. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This one? Let's back it up this way by 1. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Height should make a difference, so yeah, okay. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That one? All right. We're making our way through. It also allows us to see in the dark what our progress is. We've got a long way to go. Because it's bothering me so much, it won't be this weekend, because you guys have seen my castle a bazillion times, but coming soon, not TM, as in very soon, I'm going to have to do something with this castle. It drives me insane. Also, the mob farm, I keep saying I'm going to move it. It's underground right now. I'm going to put it over top of this hole. So, yeah. I know it's, once again, pardon me, coming soon, and I've talked about it for months, but it's because it's bugging me. Then I'm going to tear it down and redo it. If I do this part twice as high in the castle, then we'll be able to get the walls, ends finished in a way I'm hopefully happier with. So there's walls and terraforming and stuff. I think my goal this season is just to chill. I was going to worry about you know, being all inspired and actually completing something, and I just want to be happy with it. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and on the 8th, this one, back down to 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and on the 8th. 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, and on the 8th. And there we go, we're caught up. Oh, oops, not 2. Okay, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and on the 8th. That gives me a bit of a safety zone to work with. I've also realized as we went, I do not have all of the chiseled stone bricks in place. There's a lot of that to be doing. Where? Where did I stop? Okay, there we go. I think I found the spot where I stopped. Right under stairs. Oops, where am I? Right under stairs, but where am I? There we go. Oh, right, I forgot I can use this. Never mind. We are... So 426 is where the first one is. There we go. There's a bit of up and down to do. I gave you guys a taste, since I've got it in my head, of... Actually, let's just do this a little bit slower for a second. We're going to go with a new geek out, so I'm actually going to disable the geek out exclamation point thing at the moment. Actions. Geek. Oh, where's the commands? Geek? Yep. I'm going to disable that so we can't actually trigger it by button or by exclamation point command. And where are we? Live. Oh no, it's a minigame. Minigame. Okay, properties. That's a little bit smaller. And I'm going to change it up and just put it in front of my screen for a minute. Over on this side. They change as we go. Let's find one of the other ones. As I said, I'm going to be adding these to the random categories. But for now, doesn't have a... Oh, it's not the dice I want. It's okay. Let's find the bigger dice. Here's the dice. There we go. That way it's easy for me to see. You guys can't hear it, but you'll be able to see it. See? A nice big one. And that way I can announce and show, if need be, whatever the color is. And we're going to go with some of the default ones, I think, because I just pulled the dice out of the Disney game, though. The boards. Or do I have them? What do we got? Oh, the other one actually isn't even out of its package yet. Give me a sec. There we go. Okay. So you're seeing a lot of me scrambling around. Not intentional. But we have, as I said, 2 new Geek Out sets. Some of them start with some blanks, so we can always create some more if we want to. I'd rather not. That's not a whole set of blanks, by the way. That's just the way they package them. Okay, here's one. So let's see if I can change this one. So we've got 2 currently deceased, oops, I said named twice, named comic book characters. I guess that's literature. Suppose. In each of these sets, in each of these sets, the colors mean different things. So I need to try and make sure I cross-reference them correctly when I start putting them in our color sets. It doesn't particularly matter. The explanations are kind of weird, but having them match with explanations might make more sense. All right, so we'll leave that one just sitting there. And need to get back to putting in the torches, right? Or the things to do with torches. That's it, yes. Where's the regular block? There we go. Every second one we've got one of these chiseled blocks in behind the fencing, so I'm trying to figure out where I am on some of these. Some of them you'll see them from the backside like this, and other ones you won't, just depending on how the walls bend. All right. Very 80s kind of music, isn't it? Very poppy. Stay very synth. Kind of an interesting twist. What do I have? Oh, stairs. All right. Haven't counted on that one. No, not that. I need my blocks, thank you. Okay, so stairs, 1, 2. 2. The farther we can get on the wall, the better. And we will, at some point, let's rise up for a second here. So we'll, at some point, have to start figuring out where to put stairs in to get into these sections. And that's going to be a whole different project. Okay, so I'm looking at the open section. You can't see where the wall disappears to. It's out there. But we're going to need to start figuring out where to put in stairs, and those will be projects in themselves, and that I'm going to mark out hopefully soon. And that's even less of a soon TM, because really, once I've got everything not spawning on the walls, technically I can get away without having any stairs up, but that visually doesn't work.
Hello? Hello?
Welcome back. Welcome back, Springer.
Hello.
Hopefully you had a good shower. Actually, I'm looking forward to my next one. I tend to like my showers, although they go a little bit long sometimes, so I need to be careful about that. Because I can soak in the shower quite nicely. On the other hand, I used to not like just doing a bath, because for one thing, some people think it's gross that you're sitting in your own filth when you soak in a tub. I don't know. I don't have a problem with, sitting in the tub, but the water used to get cold, Now, I mean, technically, I could spoil myself and run the tub again. Till not that long ago, we actually had only, your usual water heater with a tank. But due to the fact that in the 13 years that we've been in this house, we've had 2 water tanks already, as in, both have gone. We said, this is stupid, and went with a tankless water heater. So that, you have insta hot water, you're not running the tap before, not all that long anyways, before everything's super hot. And you can't actually run out of water when you're running a tub, because we actually have quite a deep soaker tub. And so in order to get a nice full tub, you actually were draining the entirety of the water tank, especially if you're a fantastic Sherlock Fox who likes his baths hotter than I do. But I'm one who's bad going the opposite direction, in that I like mine to, not my baths, but I like my showers long. Which is not good, of course, because when you're doing that with a tankless water heater, it gets expensive. So I just have to be careful about that one. But the other thing about sitting in a tub that I'm not as big a fan of is just that because I've got long hair, even if you wash it, it's hard to get all of the shampoo and such out of my long hair. Showers work better for that, and why have a bath followed promptly by a shower? To me, that just seems weird. I mean, it makes perfect sense you need to do it, but it just doesn't, yeah, I just don't feel that I get as fully clean in a bath as I would in a shower. Even if it was one of those bathtubs with the shower thing that hangs over the edge for rinsing when you're done. I guess I might be able to speed up things that way, but yeah, it's just not financially smart. Baths can be an awesome luxury. I grew up with baths too. Not that we didn't have a shower, but that if you wanted people to leave you alone while you were hanging out, you had to have a bath. Because the assumption was, of course, that yes, of course you soak in a bath. That's just the way things are done. But showers were meant for speed. If you want people to leave you alone, you have a bath. But we weren't allowed books in the shower. And for a long time, actually, growing up, I wasn't allowed to have electronics in the bathroom of my own. My parents didn't feel that they were water resistant enough. Back in the day, even just a generic radio or cassette player or something. We had one of those in there, but it wasn't. I wasn't allowed to take a CD player of any sort in there. And that was just because they weren't water resistant, right? At least that was my parents' argument. I didn't really buy it, but you know, can't argue with your parents all the time, right? Anyway, but the reason I mentioned is just that by not being allowed to have electronics in there, then it wasn't like I could spend forever in the shower and listen to, say, an audiobook or something. It's just because, yeah. So therefore, showers became a business thing. It was quite the luxury, being an adult, to not have to speed through a shower, partly because you're bored. Although now I daydream in the shower an awful lot, so less listening to podcasts or anything of that sort. I just do the daydreaming part of it. It's okay, let me correct that. It's less daydreaming and more let my mind float off on various topics. So half the stuff you guys hear from me on stream is actually because that's what goes through my head, just generally. It may sound weird to say that, but when my mind wanders and we go from topic to topic to topic, unless it's filtered, or not filtered, sorry, affected, aka triggered by something else to help steer the topic, we just wander in the same sort of way my mind wanders. So yeah, I have lots of podcasts I would love to listen to. I have lots of videos on YouTube that I'm behind on watching that I should watch, catch up on them. Part of the problem with catching up on those is, like, some of the videos could be done as sort of just listen to them while I'm in the shower, right? There's a possibility of that. But some of the videos are things that, like, you get into the shower, you go, oh, hey, really, that's a great moment. I should be seeing that, and maybe write a note down or two, something like that. But you're in the shower. That's not, that's not going to work. So yeah, that's part of the problem with preferring videos over audio podcasts. It's kind of interesting and or sad when, say, Twitch or YouTube has become the new radio, because most of the time people can just listen, which is fine, and that's sort of what I'm here for. But there's the rare time where something will happen and you kind of wish you'd seen it. Less so in my streams, unless I'm doing something stupid like jumping on creepers or whatever, but more commonly for some of the other streams, I could listen to a lot of them in the background, and some will get... There are some streams or videos that they describe what's going on, almost descriptive video grade, all the way through, so you really don't need to be actively watching them. Playlists, of course, love to be inconvenient and mess with that. Okay, I don't know how I'm going to do this spot, so let's catch up all the rest of the wall style to that point and then figure it out. Can people actually hear radio over the noise of the running water? Yes, if. Two pieces. One, if you have the water running on your back, and not actually onto your head, then you don't get the bone conduction as much of the water, so you don't have that blocking things out. But also, nope, where are we here? There we go. So you don't get that element happening. But the other part of it too is, depending on where you live or who you live with, they may have a tolerance for you to actually really crank the sound, and then in essence, your audio is just loud enough that it drowns out the sound of the running water. So there is that. That's one of the other perks of being an adult, is and living on your own, is that you can turn your music up, or your audio, whatever it is. And for the most part, I mean, aside from the generic courtesy of living with other people element, nobody's going to yell at you for it, right? They're not your parents. I'm not going to yell at you anymore like your parents would. I turned off Geek Out, Fantastic Show Fox. I'm going to be, just for a little bit here, manually putting in some of the brand new ones. But I do hear the beep when you... No, that's fine. So I do hear the beep when you attempt to use it, and that's actually going to remind me to put a new one up there. So would you like me to put a new Geek Out up there? Because currently deceased comic book characters can be sort of difficult to name. I mean, there was a time when we could add things like Spider-Man has been killed multiple different times. Iron Man is supposed to be deceased. According to the MCU they are, but I'm sure in the comics they're probably back. Okay, so let me get the next Geek Out. We're going to roll it up. And Geek Out is... category is black. So let's grab a Disney one. They're a little safer. So black for Disney is miscellaneous again. Ah. Oh, okay. And doesn't have to be Disney characters, although... Let's see, I'm going to call this Disney Miscellaneous. There'll be typos in here because I'm speeding this up. There it goes. Oops, 2 characters who wear capes. There we go. So this one will probably be a short one. You can see that on screen there. 2 characters who wear capes. Disney-wise, I know one of them easily without having to sort of look it up on the net. This is a temporary thing. It's just, I will take some time later today to get these put into the category. Sorry, pardon me, the auto pull for the weekend. I just don't have them in there at the moment. Because the weekend stream is Saturday, and it's only Thursday, so we've got some time. So for the Geek Out, Disney Miscellaneous, 2 characters who wear capes. Oh, wait, this is that stupid corner I was trying to figure out. I guess I'll go with a double high fence, maybe? That one. Do-do-do-do! Suspense. Did anybody ever actually watch or listen to the old-time radio show where they would actually use that? The suspense radio program? Just curious. I quite like old-time radio shows. So I wasn't sure if anyone else did that may have actually been aware of that. That one. The suspense was kind of a fun one. Sort of a mystery. But... Alright. Yeah, that's gonna work. And I can go back to the stairs. Every second one. No, you didn't? Yeah, you didn't do radio. For sure, I can understand that. Okay. That said, actually, similar vein, did anybody like some of the old TV programs? And the one I'm thinking of in this case is something like Perry Mason. Now, I mean, Raymond Burr did Perry Mason twice, so they rebooted Perry Mason. Well, not really rebooted, let me correct that. Had a unique sequel to the Perry Mason series. And I can't remember if it was the 80s or the 90s, but it was still very old town type of thing. But I also liked watching reruns of the original Perry Mason series. And I've seen a few of those. They don't do it very often. Just before we pulled cable at our house, we used to get a weird upper channel that was descriptive video. And they did an awful lot of old shows. So you would get old black and white Perry Mason shows with descriptive video, which was kind of funny because it was the descriptive video. They must have been having fun with it back then, or not back then, but like people who put it together, because the content is kind of silly sometimes in terms of how they do things. Oops. Sometimes they would well, about that. Considering that the people in the town can't fly, nor crash into things quite so badly. Anyway, but in some of these Next. What is... You know what I'm going to do, guys? Just because it's me. I'm going to take a look at Stream Beats. Let's see what Stream Beats has for... Yeah, let's stick with that for a bit. Apologies for putting everybody to sleep, semi-intentionally. No, it's way too... I wanted chill, but I didn't want that. What's this? Okay, yeah, we're gonna go with that. Write that song again. I kind of liked it. So we're now playing still Stream Beats, the same source, but this one is a playlist. It's only about 2 hours long. I'm not going to go the whole long length of it, but it's a playlist of chill step. I normally stay away from the dubstep stuff. This will probably put everybody to sleep, but it kind of fits where my head's at right now. And we're just working on the wall, so yeah. Sorry, not sorry, maybe? It's not quite as chill as lo-fi. Put this away. That, do I have? Yeah, I've got more carrots. Recover from my silliness. That'll work. Let's see if I can actually get back up on the wall for crying out loud. That was dumb. There we go. Hit hard, but it'll work. Ooh. Okay, that... How did I miss one block in there? Silly. Okay. Put those away, put these away. I need stairs. In case you guys hadn't figured it out, my watch has decided that it's past the top of the hour. It's going to stop being in stream mode. Give me a quick second to shut things up. Focus. Streaming. There we go. On until tomorrow. That'll work. Yes, I know, Stream Deck, you are not happy as an app when I go do other things. Shush, watch. Oops, nope. I updated my watch and they've put themselves in a different format. Or not format, different Yeah. You can't easily turn on focuses. You can turn on, like, night, I think, but that's it. And they've moved all the places where you change that stuff. This again. Back into streaming mode. There we go. Okay, sorry for the delay, guys. I apologize. But we don't need all that ringy-dingy stuff. It's going to confuse me. Okay, I needed cobblestone stairs. Let's switch it for this batch. And I needed fences. What else was I needed at this point? Oh, regular stairs, maybe? Split that way. Let's see if this will do the trick. Eat. So technically, I'm at about just over 2.5 hours in, I guess. But we are still surviving because there's a lot of wall to do. Okay, this will be stairs. That makes this one invert. Uh-oh. That's fun. Let's not fall off the edge. There we go. I'll come back with the fences in a minute, I hope. Wait. This one. More stairs. One, two, this one. Okay. I didn't worry about putting stairs in at the changes when I was building the wall. We are too bad. I probably should change the subject if I'm going to be doing wall work for a while. I should probably change that subject of what the stream's all about. So let me just double check and see if it's been caught already. Nope. Okay. Wall. Walkways. 2. Done. Alright. Now, for those of you that were paying attention yesterday, right at the end of stream, I recognized, and I had missed it earlier, that Tis for Truth had resubbed quite early on in the stream and I missed it. So the reason I bring it up is in Discord there's been further discussion as to what to do about that for September, because of course I was offering Bean Boozled beans and stuff, and they have Tis has accepted the opportunity to have me do the Bean Boozled bean. Rather than doing it today, we're going to hold off, and I will do it on Saturday during the stream weekend, because they said they would be able to be there for that, so I think that's a good time as any. So just, you're not missing anything if you were coming for that today. It's actually going to be on Saturday. All right. I'm watching some of the comments from Springer Shadow, and I don't know why I find it so funny. I shouldn't, but I was going to say the irony of some of the comments, but no, there's no real irony to it. I don't use the word properly. But the mismatch, given that Springer Shadow likes things to be friendly for those that are unfortunately auditory challenged, maybe? Auditorily different, I guess? Anyways, the point is that some of the jokes made are extra funny when I think about it from that angle. So I'll catch the nuance of another layer and then get a second laugh out of it, and that's part of why some of the laughs that you get out of me are very much out of context. But once again, I don't usually explain them simply because, well, any joke you have to explain probably wasn't all that funny in the first place. Oops. I can cut another one, whatever. Why am I missing things? Okay, that's where okay, good. I paused for confusion at the correct spot because I was trying to figure out what's wrong with the bottom and maybe wonder if I hadn't put fences in, but that's because I didn't put fences in beyond the spot where I stopped just now. So, yeah, I did it right. I didn't think I did. But pursuant to the comments I had made earlier about wondering about another world, I was just thinking that if I was to enjoy or to like this build enough to put it into another world in a future season, I mean, it probably would be, a nice town or whatever, or a different world. A Minecraft world, that is. And yet, at the same time, it'd be a bit of a pain in the neck to recreate the whole thing, even if I'm using, say, World Edit or... well, World Edit I don't know how to use, so I need to get there. That's part one. In the meantime, do know how to use Element. If I was to turn it into a Lightmatic to repaste the whole thing, or let me correct that, a series of Lightmatics, then it would just be a lot of work. That would not be worth putting on stream, but I'm still really liking it now that I'm sort of saying it out loud. I'm actually really quite liking that idea, not necessarily as a stream content element, but just have an archive world. Kind of what makes me think about it is drawing a blank here for a second. There's a gal from Mojang that has multiple different occasions for Minecraft Live, talked about how Agnes, that it is, has talked about how old her favorite world is, and that she just keeps adding to it and keeps updating it. I've never had one of those, and I would love to have a world that's long-term like that. Since I found, survival multiplayer worlds, I have not had a solo player world that's gone on long. I had worlds with family and stuff like that, and I still have some of those, and I will probably copy builds out of them to this archive world, but yeah, I just never really had one of those long worlds, and it's just one of those things I'd like to have, I guess, if that makes sense. So the more I think about it, the more I like the idea. It won't happen in time for the weekend for show-off tours or whatever, but it makes it easier to 3D show things rather than just images. So when I say, for example, something like, that flower I built was really big. To some people it would be big. To some people it would not be big, depending on how big they build. But to go and explore it, even if it was a shop and there's nobody on the world to sell to, it would just be kind of neat. And if I cluster all out of that stuff together, so for example, I would not put the flower in the middle of this town, but if I clustered it all out of that stuff together, even slightly outside of it, then because it's just me, and I could fly if I want to fly and so on, then I could, then I could potentially just use that sort of sets of spaces as a way of clustering storage, which, if I'm to be honest, as a survival world, it would be needing lots of storage. Needless to say, it would need to be creative to get the builds in the first place, because redoing them all from schematics is just, it's not worth it. You guys saw a lot of them last season once. There's VODs for that. Why do it twice? Right? Hey, it's a corner. As in, it's a corner. Huh. Okay, so how do I want to approach this? One thing when it was the outside of the wall going one way, now it's going the other way. It's starting to reach around the bottom. But yes, you heard me say that. What do I want to do with this? Okay, I think what I'm going to do is go this way, have one part stick out here, and then go straight the other direction. It's one thing to take the stairs around the corner, but it's a different thing to take the blocks around, or sorry, the log around the corner. This one. Ah! Let's not throw me off the fence. There we go. One, two, three. Sorry if I'm getting quiet, it's because I'm not falling asleep to the music. You are! No, if I'm getting quiet, it's because I'm trying to think my way through this, which is not the world's best. Only the best content! That's not me. I guarantee. Let's go this way, I think? Yeah, that corner's rough. It needs something. It definitely needs something. But I don't know what the something is. So it's a correction. Hopefully, if we get the stair to go on here, then I can figure it out. But if it's a slab going there, it might be a bit of a challenge. Ad break in 26 seconds. Wow, that's the hint that we've hit the top of hour 3. Thank you and sorry, I guess. I'm having fun, right? And that's part of why I keep going on, is because I'm having fun. On the other hand, people do have things they need to do. Hey, maybe that's the news story. People were talking about being able to fall asleep in my streams. Maybe it's not about falling asleep in my streams. Maybe it's waking up and still being in my stream. Ooh, what a nightmare that would be. In a Twilight Zone. Nee, 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 nee. And if I've lost people already, I'm hoping it's to someone I understand. That I know of. I mean, at one point, I actually fully expected everybody to disappear because Jade was streaming. Okay, so we made it all the way around this far. Did I put a fence in that one? Can't get a fence in there, so I must have. Let me double check that. Yeah, I got a fence there. Alright. So we're almost on the south edge. Weird, okay, where we're standing right now is where I had the stone wall to just before I went on vacation to Ireland in August. So 1 month later, we're still dealing with the wall. We've done other things in between, so that's not too bad. That's not too bad. Okay, so what I'm gonna back off. Yeah, I'm gonna back up and start putting in the top layer of stuff, these stone things, and hope that some of these weird connections on corners will actually work out in my favor. Slabs, more stone stairs. Right. Fine. Alright, so it's an alternating system. Let's go figure out how these slabs are going to work. Alternate, go this way. Oh, extra. Extra! That's actually extra. That's one of those gums we didn't mention, isn't it? Don't think we talked about extra gum. Oh. Huh. Okay, well that's not ideal. What have I got? What on the outside here? Looking for a fudge factor, you know? Where can I find a fudge factor? And do I dare making a mess out of it? So at this point, there's always a slab over the fence, and then we've got a stair over top of the inverted stair. But this spot doesn't work. Pet shirt. Welcome on in. Pet shirt was here first. And he's the most eager Glenn Russell fan today. It's funny because I'm 3 hours in and somebody finally is the first person here. Nobody was here until then. Right. Nobody was here. Nobody expects the first one here is Inquisition. No. Okay, this isn't working. You know what? There's this just one sticky spot that's really bothering me. Okay, I've got a different idea. What I'm gonna do. Whether it be there or somewhere else, I'm still gonna have the same problem. So I thought about raising this one up by 1 on the fence, but then I just have the same problem in the next block. I did it the other way on the other side. Why can't I figure out what to do on this side? Did I just get lucky and it worked out, or did I just not care, or what? Okay, that's what I was hoping was going to happen. Let's see, what else do we have? Yeah, this gap looks dumb, but at least I'm not going to like walk off. Not as likely to just walk off the edge. That one looks kind of dumb too. Oh well. Let's go with dumb for consistency. I can always fake it till you make it later. Alright, so that shirt, if you're in stream and are willing to chat, I'm curious what caught your eye about the stream and what got you to spend your point to be first. But if you're not willing to, that's totally fine. You may have come and gone or decided to come and lurk, and either way that works for me. So yeah, all good. And I just realized I did a dumb thing and probably called out lurkers. Sorry guys, girls, anybody else. Accidents happen when I'm not thinking straight. I need to finish up the coffee I had because yeah, I'll be up super late at night if I don't. Thinking of my next set of glasses, I should really get one of those coatings that that blocks against blue light. I've tried using the feature on the computer where the monitor will help adjust for that. So after a certain hour, it just puts in a blue light filter and everything shifts blue. The reason that doesn't work for me, in lieu of getting a blue light coating or blue light glasses, is because if the whole world isn't shifted like that, then I notice the blue tint and it bugs me. Or sorry, not blue tint, sorry, the orange shift to counter the blue or something, whichever one it is, it's supposed to reverse. And that doesn't help a whole lot. But it's a combination of avoiding caffeine and not actually doing something interesting on a computer for a while. On the other hand, though, I keep complaining that I don't take enough time to read, so maybe I should read instead. That even with caffeine, I can still put myself to sleep. Because I enjoy reading, but it's got more chance that I can logic myself to sleep. Even if I'm using something like a Kindle, or I've actually even had good luck, even with the Kindle app on, say, an iPad. I mean, it burns more energy to do it that way. People claim it's not as good for your eyes. I have noticed a difference between that and reading on a Kindle proper, even a backlit Kindle, but it doesn't seem to be as notable compared to like doing computer stuff. Even grindy computer stuff. Although I will admit, when it was close to the end of Dadcraft streams yesterday, or Dadcraft stream singular, and he was chopping trees and stuff. I was chopping trees too, and for a while I was a little faster than him, so I got this really cheap thrill out of the fact that I got lucky to be faster, and then knowing, of course, I have all kinds of cheaty reasons I was faster, like I think I was using netherite and to chop and he wasn't, and I've got a beacon up and he didn't, you know, things like that. So I realized it was an invalid buzz. But then shortly after that, I was chopping and slightly started to doze off in real life. So I fell off my tree. Didn't die, but came close and it's like, yeah, forget that. I'm going to bed. Did I bring slabs? I did. Yeah, this looks kind of dumb, but at least I put the stairs going this way. And did I miss a spot? I think I missed a spot. I remember thinking there's a spot where the stairs need to go. This one. Nope. Come on, up it is. Where is... Huh. I thought there was a spot right... Wait, there it is, right here. So... am I going to see it from the ground? Oh, next corner. Yeah, I'm not going to see that from the ground. Good. Yep, that'll do. Oh, good enough. Good enough. It has also occurred to me that these walkways, like the extra fencing on the walkways, looks a bit dumb without support underneath. So we will be putting supports in, I just haven't figured out yet what I want to do for that support look. But yeah, there will be another pass made at the wall, even though I'm working on what should have been sort of a last pass by doing both sides of the walkway. There will definitely be another pass made in order to add the supporting elements of this one. That doesn't look right. Yeah, I guess it's right. So yeah, but I mean, at least the other part hopefully won't be so bad. I mean, by not doing it as we go, we're going to have some scaffolding challenges. That last section's going to go stupid slow. Unless I happen to be in spots where I can do jump reaches. If I'm smart about it, I'll figure it out before we finish the wall. Finish the upper pass of the wall so that things don't take as long to put in and I can start doing it from above. But that involves foresight? I don't know. Or something. Thinking ahead. Let's put it that way. And thinking ahead is something I'm a little short on at the moment. But I have myself a nice, neat, tidy whiteboard. It's not empty, but it has lists of things to do on stream, things to do with stream. Hey, Fantastic Sherlock Fox, thank you. Things to do on stream, things to do with stream. Pardon me. And so I have some organization, but that's not always working. I've got a nice notepad as well. That, you know, Monday I'm going to work on this thing on stream. Tuesday I'm going to work on that thing on stream. And that particular notepad, well, Tuesday 1 and Tuesday 2 and so on. But that particular notepad is actually empty. Had it for a while and I just have not actually known what I was going to do. I'm sure Fantastic Shark Fox is getting tired of the, so what do you think I should do on stream weekend? Type questions. We're on the south side. Yay! Oops, and that one's got to go because it's wrong. Down here because it's stairs. Did I mess up this end too? Probably. How far back? Stairs are over there. See them from here. So this one should be stairs, which means this block is incorrect. Wow, okay, sorry guys. Once again, I have to change the playlist. I said I wanted sleepy music, but not that sleepy. It's insane. Let's go with oh boy. Let's try that. Nope. Oh, we'll let that one get 280s before I bother with changing it. Does... I wonder if this one works today. Am I gonna make it? Yes, yes. No. Nope. Okay. Wake up. Wake up the instructions. There we go. Go. That one go away. Alright, so I know that one works for now. The drops work. Plinko kind of works. You know what I might do? See, I'm going to check the website. Not right now, but I'm going to check the website that drop and Plinko come from. Having raids be drops is kind of cool because they drop in on you, but I think I'm going to try it out and see about changing that into a Plinko game with a whole ton of people Plinkoing in all at once. I don't know. It's an experiment. Okay. How much do I have? Slab. Did I get this one right? Yes. Okay. A little bit more exciting music. I mean, you can still sleep to it, but mostly if you find the rhythm or the pattern. Okay, so randomness is Disney Geek Out is 2 characters who wear capes, and I'm not sure about both of them. I know I can give you one, and I guess if we count the fact that Disney owns MCU now, then you've got a few choices, like 4. But if we ignore that, if we ignore that for the moment, then we've got Darkwing Duck is the only one I could think of off the top of my head. Oh, maybe no. Let me correct that. Just thought of another one. Fantastic Sherlock Fox might be able to correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Jafar in Aladdin wears a cape. Fairly certain he did. But I might be wrong, so that's the thing. I know in the stage musical version he had a cape, but that could be just because people think capes are cool. Got really low on that side. So the inside of this is inconsistent, but the outside was a consistent height. That's part of why it's going up and down like a crazy person. But I also tried to make sure that wherever possible, there won't be, excuse me, there won't be overhangs or spots that either mobs or lore-wise people could get in. I recognize that if one was to use siege things like ladders, then there's definitely no way that people wouldn't be coming in. So in other words, you would definitely have other forces. What's the word? Invading. That's what I was looking for. Invaders. There's no way you wouldn't have invaders causing you problems. But for our purposes, it works. Because then you're not going to have mobs. I mean, they don't have siege, they don't have siege equipment. I've yet to see a zombie with a battering ram. Although, I mean, who knows? Maybe there's a first for everything. Go back up, and I'm going to do the fencing on the inside, then we're going to go back to the outside again. I'm only going to go for about another 15 minutes or so. I know it's a weird length of a stream, but we are, in that case, we'd be about half an hour from, maybe a little bit more, from my daughter coming home from school. So, allows me to finish up, get some stuff done, and then be able to be available for the kids once they get home. Tonight's one of those Meet the Teacher nights. We're going to my son's school for that, and my daughter's Meet the Teacher, we've got an appointment with the teacher tomorrow rather than going to her school's sort of mass collection today. She managed to get the same teacher she had last year, so that's good for us, but it also means that it's more useful for the teachers to be able to have a second or like a one-on-one appointment. Normally the Meet the Teacher night, when you've got a brand new teacher, they don't know sort of enough about the kids to be able to give you academic conversations, and they're not really supposed to if that's the case, but our kid is on a slightly different program than the majority of her classmates, so there's learning strategy stuff involved that the teachers are already aware of by having had her last year and can start jumping on that plan early. And that's so there's no point in us trying to scramble through 2 different schools of Meet the Teacher in one night when one of them is essentially unimportant. The only thing I think that we're going to miss, that we might miss out on is, like if we do it this way, is that my daughter's school's parent council, I think tonight, is having like an ice cream social or something like that on top of Meet the Teacher, as a way of showcasing, here's some of the cool things our school does, which makes no sense when ice cream has nothing to do with academics, but whatever. But on top of that, it's also getting basically parent council advertising, right? And why not? Because it needs to be done. I just used up the fences for this, so I can only do the stairs at the moment. Yeah, but it's the advertising. Say, here's who we are, here's what nights we meet, and we help your school. Here's some of the things that the Parent Council has organized, fundraised, and paid for. Go. So, for those of you who've had kids past elementary school age, so for some that have had kids a little older, I'm always curious to know, so please do let me know in the Discord, because it's pretty quiet today. But let me know in the Discord, if not in chat. Did you guys find Meet the Teacher nights to be useful? One of the reasons I'm really interested in going to my son's school this year is because he's in a new school and I have not seen the interior of this school. I'm a very visual type of person, so I visualize things, and I need to put a face to a name for a lot of the teachers. But I also would like to be able to say, I went down the hall to the foods class, or it was a bit of a scramble to get to such and such after I had lunch. I'd like to be able to have a mental idea of what the school layout is like, so that I can picture that along with him. And, he thinks it's a very unexciting school right now, and it's just, it's a box, it teaches me, whatever. But I just want to be able to have that thing. Besides, my daughter might be going to that same school fairly soon, so I want to have her have an opportunity to see the building as well, so that she can sort of have something to look forward to, hopefully. But if we go to his, then we don't necessarily get a chance to make it to her school's big foofara tonight, right? We're also messing with our scout meetings, because they're actually having a meeting in a park tonight, and because of this Meet the Teacher business, we won't be there, at least not to start with. So we'll see where my son's head's at by the time the Meet the Teacher's over. Weird. Just from one particular angle, I was seeing right square. Oh, wish I could Yeah, let's go. Free cam. Visually zoom. So here, I was seeing the donkey right immediately scur on from the back end. I don't know how to explain it, but just the angle I was looking at, for some reason I thought I saw the weirdest Enderman position known to man. But no. This is like Donkey City, Donkey Territory. There's one over here. We've got one over there. There's one down here, one down there. I just can't seem to get rid of these guys. They just keep spawning all over the place. Alright, so we've gone with 2 characters that wear capes. Let's see if we can get a new one. So Geek Out. As I said, it's going to be the top of the hour, so I'm just going to run one more, and then we'll call it a day. So this one I rolled. We've got ourselves blue. And let's see if we've got a blue one. Okay. Blue one. Oh, that's comic books. I don't want that. Blue from Disney is... Okay. Oops, what's the category called? Okay. Pixar. We have 2 occupations of... Oops. I think I got it right. Yeah, okay. 2 occupations of Pixar characters. That's the last Disney Geek Out for the day. 2 occupations of Pixar characters. There's plenty of people that go to work, like Inside Out people, you know, for example. Which it's their life. It's not necessarily an occupation to be in charge of running. I guess maybe it's an occupation to be in charge of running the girl's sanity, maybe, or emotions. But the characters don't really have anything else. It's not like you can be fired and go look for another job. So I wouldn't have qualified that in the question myself as an interpretation, but, you know, your mileage may vary. Part of this fencing is to keep people from falling off, right? So let's give it some space. Oh, I guess I need some more for that. Alright, so I've kind of run out of most of the supplies. So let's see if we can... Oh, I know what I need to do. That I do have supplies for. Let's add a little bit more lighting before we disappear. That's probably the easier one. So we get to count to 7 again. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. On the next one. Let's go back here to hide it. 1, 2. It is, okay, diagonal is a problem. I didn't realize diagonal was every second, honestly. So I'm actually wondering if I have bungled this up quite a ways back. Nope, it seems to work. As long as I'm not counting diagonal, we're fine. Okay, where are we here? 0. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and on the next one? Okay. Hide it on the inside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then on the next one. 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops, I'm at 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. On the next one, let's put it here. Okay. Just to work until we get here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and on the next one, let's put it there. Did that work? Close enough. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's as far as we can get at this point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll put it there, because I'm going to need this part to build with. Alright, so we've got a little bit of a buffer. Let's get out of here. Do. I don't know if I have more sticks in storage. We need more fencing. Yep, plenty. Don't think I have any spruce in here. That would be light to dark. Okay, so it's... Nope, no spruce. Make some fences outside. I'll just take us to the top of the hour and see what we can do. This one. Logs, you can go here for now. Need those for slabs. Spruce. One, fences. Thank you. Fences. Low. That's fussy. Oh well, it's fine. Me, I'm sorry. Let's leave. Need a ton of fences, so let's just keep on going. Then when I'm done this, I will have eaten my entire collection of sticks. So that's not necessarily a bad thing. I ate my entire collection of sticks. We're good. Awesome. Okay, so let's put... Oh, no, I didn't. Haha. I thought I had, but I did not. Wood, where are you? Let's put some fences over here. Just for now, we're gonna... This one. Build more sticks. Okay. This will be easily the most fences I've ever made. Easily. Did I really run out of sticks this time? Yes, excellent. Okay. One stick. That's it? Two more fences. Alright. So now we have fences out the wazoo, which is good. And... You know, See, I've got a lot of this fences coming off the backside of this. I could just do that on the backside here. The other thing is when I rebuild this castle, rather than making it out of birch, I might make it out of something else. Like wood, but just something else. Make it darker and more imposing. Dark oak might be an option. Or even spruce stripped would probably be an option, but that's another story for another day. Because we need to get ourselves rolling. So, ha 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 ha. Uh-oh. Yeah, spruce, super easy. Dark oak, slightly less easy, but still doable. What did I want? I wanted fences, right? And then I needed all these other blocks. These, those, and those. Oops, not that. Anyway, neither here or there at the moment. All right, so we're making my way back to you. We need fences first. That's the big key right now. Fence, 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 defense. Fencity, fencity, fence, fence, fence. Right? Wrong. Alright. I'm getting a little bit random, so that's definitely, we know that it's time for a break. If there's any suggestions on who you would like to see me raid, please do let me know. Otherwise, I can shut her down cold, though I'm not as keen on doing that. So if anyone has any preferences of who they'd like to see, please do let me know. I've got a few in the chat. Or not in the chat, sorry, in the queue. Let's see who's up. No, you're not coming in at the wrong time at all, Skyfire. Not at all. Not at all. I've been up for about 3.5 hours, and that's not a problem, except that my voice is actually starting to wear out to the point where it hurts. Just taking a drink doesn't seem to cover it. So that's my signal that it's time to stop. I think it's mostly triggered by fall allergies, because you guys have seen me have streams longer than this. But, yeah. That's where we're at. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to head over to Axonym. Oh, actually, no, he's been up for 2.5 hours. Who have we got that hasn't been up for all that long? You know that feeling? It happens to me if I talk too much. Yeah, it's just that whole back of the throat kind of thing. I know there's some that will go really long, and I also realized I didn't know that we missed Poodle Pirate. That was my mistake. So yeah, I'm gonna have to apologize to them later. So yeah, I owe them a huge apology. Okay, so I guess in this case, we got a couple of choices here. We can go with Sacred Lotus MC, whose topic right now appears to be Everybody Loves Cake, and they're playing on Slackville. Or we can switch our way over to Bruno, who's only been up for half an hour, much higher energy. Or we can try and see if we can settle in on the coattails of Poodle Pirate. So I would actually prefer if someone quickly checked and see if Poodle Pirate is actually still live. Just because we all AFK on this server and do our own thing sometimes, so I don't always pay attention to who's actually up. Yeah. Maxie's been up for a while though, so I'm a little concerned about coming in on his work. Here, I got an idea. You know, that'd be a little bit weird. I'd have to explain myself. I was actually going to send Poodle a message in game, but I'm like, then that would end up in her stream. And if she said no, then that's awkward. So it's only 2 o'clock flat on my clock, so I'll give it a couple minutes, then I'll do one more refresh check before we head out. Just pick someone and go, and see who's still around at that point. Because some others who stop at the top of the hour would also be possibly doing the same thing. So I want to give people who are stopping time to stop. But yes, I appreciate you popping in, Skyfire. I really do. I've been looking at some of the community members who hang with you and who you know, in addition to yourself, as some possible raid targets. So there may be more of us in the future. Okay, refresh. Let's see. Do. Yay! Yeah, I like that one too. I like that too. Well, you know what? Why don't we drop in on our poodle mate? Poodle mate, there you go. Why don't we drop in on our server mate Poodle? And apologies in advance if we catch Poodle just about to raid out. But they haven't been able to stream as frequently as we would like, so we're going to head over there and give them all our best. Yar! Indeed. Yeah, that was yesterday, actually. Talk Like a Pirate Day. Oh, no, actually 2 days ago. Okay, so we can get the raid started and say thanks to everybody who came in as best we can.
Mischief managed.
Mischief managed as always. And a nap or two thrown in on the side. So extra special thank you to Teddy Legend Gaming for bringing their viewers in, and also to any of the other streamers who come in. And thanks to the Clue Spender, Fantastic Sherlock Fox, and Springer Shadow, as well as our moderator, Fantastic Sherlock Fox, for moderating while he was having meetings. I appreciate that. I'm spoiled. Thank you to our subscribers Jen, Tim Dog, Springer Shadow, ITT Tom, and Skyfire, as well as Teddy Legend Gaming, Toshi Beanie, and Betshirt for having conversation with us today. If you didn't get mentioned and wanted to, just remember to say hi so we can pick you up. Otherwise, thank you very much for coming and hanging out, and thank you so much for being a part of this community. Let's head on over to Poodle Pirate. Just before we go, I'm just going to throw the Discord in there one more time. If I can find it. Never mind. We'll skip that for now because there it is. But if you have any feedback, please feel free to drop it in there. Otherwise, we will ask you to grab any emotes that you feel are appropriate and say hi to Poodle Pirate. I will see you on the flip side. Until Saturday with a stream weekend. Bye-bye for now.